Podmortem would like to thank Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Original Cinematic is an independent production company that has made it their mission to create, produce, and promote films that are inclusive, honor women, promote the LGBTQIA+ community, and provide prominent positions and roles to POC actors and filmmakers, and promote the films of marginalized and underrepresented populations. These are all things that are extremely important to our podcast as well.
Original Cinematic is currently accepting scripts and treatments. Both William and Xxena Rush are also available via email or Zoom to discuss writing and provide input and resources to all aspiring writers free of charge. Their information will be made available in the show notes. There may be delays due to a hectic schedule and all projects being read on a first-come, first-served basis, but everything will be read and responded to. William Rush has individually produced numerous projects, including Pack is Here, Before, The Cottage, The Winemaker, and Day by Day. Their award-winning film Group premiered and was celebrated at multiple film festivals as well as screenings both in person and via Zoom that was graciously made available to us and our patrons.
Original Cinematic has many exciting projects on the horizon. Their next film, Immersion, has been completed. The award-winning Sweetener is in development. Fetish begins shooting in September, and Encore will begin next spring. Their documentary, Women in Conversation, is slated for a September release, and we are looking forward to each and every one of them. It is truly an honor to partner with Original Cinematic, and we can't thank them enough for their contribution to our show. And now, back to our regularly scheduled program. Salutations! Welcome to Podmortem. I'm Travis Hunter-Sayapin, joined as always by my co-hosts, my sister and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter-Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from the Morgan Horse Farm, discussing the 2005 supernatural horror film, The Ring 2. This film was directed by Hideo Nakata from a screenplay by Aaron Kruger. Following the massive success of its 2002 predecessor, The Ring, producers went back to the well once more to craft its sequel. The Ring 2 expands on the lore of the previous entry, with a returning lead cast once again diving deeper into the story of Samara Morgan. Though the film features a few memorable moments, inspired sequences of suspense, and its signature surreal imagery and atmosphere, The Ring 2 failed to reach the heights and critical receptions of its predecessor. It would still go on to become a box office success, though it is widely considered a disappointing follow-up by comparison. This film was the winner of our July Patreon poll, so thank you to all of our patrons who participated and voted. If you'd like to help us pick an episode, join us over on Patreon at patreon.com/thepodmortem. So, The Ring 2. What were your first impressions on the film?
I don't remember exactly the first time watching this movie. I do know that I've seen it before. I don't know if I've seen it more than the once. There was a couple of things that I remembered, but a lot of this movie I did not whatsoever remember.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I do agree. I don't think this is as strong as the first one. We do get some more lore pieces here and whatever, but I feel like sometimes more isn't better. You know, so I'll leave it until we get into it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes adding things just kind of makes things more muddy. But it does have some cool parts. You know, some things I did enjoy. There was a part where I was just kind of not having a good time, as far as like I was just confused about what was going on or certain things that were happening. But overall, as a sequel, would I watch it again? Probably. Would I be in a hurry to watch it again? Probably not.
I think that's fair. I don't think that this is necessarily bad, but I think that The Ring is so like iconic in a way for people our age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That this is just not a satisfying follow-up to it.
Right.
You said that we get more lore, and I want to piggyback that we do get more, and it doesn't always gel with what we have learned and established in the previous film. I think that's my biggest issue with it, and the fact that like when you get agencies involved in the story, whether it be the police or agencies that protect children, maybe, or hospitals and stuff, and when you just use them for a plot device for the scene and then they're just it's always a little difficult to reconcile because when the credits roll it's like, oh no, there's still a lot, like there's a lot of open boxes here. But like you said, there's some really cool visuals. I like this story. I like the lore. I love the imagery of the video. Again, it's not like we've already seen the video. We saw the video in the first one.
Right.
But there are elements that continue. There are some creepy visuals. There's some really impressive effects. There's some really not as impressive effects.
That's a choice.
Yes, yeah.
I think Naomi Watts is great.
Oh yeah.
I just, it's one of those movies, and I probably would watch it again as well. It's not like I was like, this is fucking bullshit, but I didn't have the best time watching it. And it's one of those sequels to me that it's almost like when you finish it, you're like, did we need that? I don't know that we needed that.
I could not agree more. I feel like that's kind of the worst feeling to get after watching one.
Yeah.
Because it's like, then you start to wonder, you're like, well, was this done for creative reasons at all?
Yeah.
Or
it's like maybe we could have left it.
Yeah, it was a cash grab.
Absolutely.
Well,
I mean, we're just going to come out and say it.
I thought that was implied. But
Yeah.
Well,
They did it for the money.
they need to know.
Yeah. They need to know that we know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel like that's the thing, is that it does not really justify its own existence.
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing that I really look at whenever it comes to remakes and sequels. What is the reason that you're even here? And I feel like The Ring, the first one, did that very well.
Yes.
And rewatching it to watch The Ring 2 and prepare for this episode, it's kind of like night and day.
Yeah.
And it's pretty unfortunate. But I remember watching this only the once, just like you did. And I think that we saw it in theaters even. But even 14-year-old me was like, yeah, it's not as good as the...
Yeah. I mean, thinking about it,
Yeah.
I don't think I watched it again either.
No.
I think it was one and done.
Yeah.
And the only thing really that I remembered from it was a line that is also in another movie that we covered.
Right. But because of that and it having been so long, that's 20 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm pretty excited to revisit this one. And I was a little glad that it won the Patreon poll.
Yeah.
I had other feelings as well. But
You did.
But the thing about the first film to me
Right.
is that the first film is very brilliantly self-contained.
Yeah.
The way that it ends is a perfect way to end without ever having a sequel.
Yes.
And so seeing that this thing is here, it's like, okay, well, what are we going to get into now? And like Nay said, it's like, well, we've already established the video.
Right.
And it's very clear that they were wanting to go a different way with it and not rely so heavily on it. I don't find that to be very successful.
Yeah, not
I
at
agree.
all.
Yeah.
But I think that there are some really good moments that are visually impressive. One sequence I think is actually incredible. But then there are these moments that just feel so weightless compared to the first.
Yeah.
And like they're trying to even recreate moments in different ways to express the same thing, and it just does not work.
I think that is so true, because it's almost like after a certain point I was like, it was like I can't get any fucking traction. Like it's like, when are we kind of gonna take off is what it felt like. And it's like, no, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like this is the movie. We're an hour in. But it just, I don't know, it just doesn't have the weight. I think that's the perfect way to put it.
Right.
And the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They are so high, but I feel like just I don't care really. And I want to, because I did the first film.
Right.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. And it is like Nay said, it also just flat out breaks so many established rules that they set up in the first film.
Yeah.
That it almost feels like, why is this even The Ring?
Yeah.
I was thinking that when we meet a character played by an actress that I was really excited to see.
Yes.
But once we got there, I was like, I almost feel like this could have been its own movie.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Okay.
could have done something completely different. It's not The Ring. It's not Rachel and Aiden. It's not Samara. It's its own thing. That's how kind of like removed it felt from the original at times for me.
I think that it is its own thing.
Yeah.
And that's why it hurts.
Almost, yeah, I was going to say to its detriment.
Right. Because it was that. It, like I said, there was a part where I just wasn't. I was like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, once you realize, oh no, this is just a movie. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
You just kind of accept it for a little bit, and then you get towards the end, and it's like,
uh-huh.
oh,
Yeah.
All right.
And there is an unrated version of this film where certain things are presented a little differently.
Yeah.
You're given a little more time with certain characters and certain dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you do kind of care a little bit more.
Right.
But in the end, it still results in it being somewhat unsuccessful
Yeah.
and just not enough to meet the heights of what that first film did.
I will say too, and not just to pile on another thing to complain about, but
Okay.
it is interesting that this unrated version had so much more because this movie is too long.
It
Yeah.
does feel
And
very long.
It takes a lot for me to say that because I am a big fan of a slow burn. I don't mind waiting when the ending is satisfactory. I really don't. But this one, I felt the runtime.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Writing the script, I was
I bet, dude, and I'm sorry.
miserable.
Yeah.
My condolences.
But back to your point about slow burns, they work when they're paced well.
Yeah.
And so you can make a 2.5 hour film feel like a 90-minute film.
Right.
But this film was like an hour 40 something.
Yes.
And it felt like a 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it's down to that. And I really wanted to revisit this one and be like, hey, you know what? Actually, it's better than I remember.
Right.
Didn't happen. But one thing that I do feel, which happens a lot when we get into these sequels, we were a little too harsh on The Ring.
We were, but I think that was still our era of we're serious film reviewers,
Yeah.
pushing the glasses up my nose that nobody can see.
Right.
But yeah, no, I agree. The
Yeah.
Ring is, like I said earlier, it is iconic
Uh-huh.
for our generation, I would say.
Yeah. We loosened the tie after a
We-
while. We knew.
We did.
But before we dive into this film, I would like to talk a little bit about its production. The sources that I'm going to cite for this portion and throughout the episode are the production notes, an article in the BBC, an article in Den of Geek, one in Fangoria, one in Dread Central, and an HBO first look / making of featurette that was on the DVD.
Okay.
So, one more time, the last time this month, I think, as Reneé often asks, when a horror film is financially successful, what is the next logical step?
A
sequel.
sequel.
You got that right. When I say financially successful, I will admit that that's kind of an understatement when it comes to The Ring,
Okay.
because The Ring had a budget of $48 million, and at the box office, it made $250 million.
Woohoo,
my
baby.
Yeah. So it's very clear that we're going to need to start making some more of this.
Yeah.
As early as 2002, one day before the film was released, the first film, producers Walter F. Parks and Laurie MacDonald were already being asked what a potential sequel to The Ring could look like.
Mm-hmm.
Parks hoped actually to move beyond just the cursed videotape, which he said that the first audiences who watched it, which I assume were the test audiences,
Yeah.
were already worn out on the tape rather quickly.
What?
I just want to know who they're getting for these.
I don't
tests.
know.
Yeah.
I do not know. But he said that the most interesting elements that they found were the clues within the tape and the unfolding mystery of it all, which he wanted to explore more.
That is a good aspect.
Yeah.
The tape is also great.
The tape is awesome.
Yeah. And if we made copies of it or whatever, or however this is circulating, we just do that.
Yes.
The tape made it to somewhere else.
Needs more taping.
Yeah.
Precisely. But that was in 2002. When it actually comes time to craft the sequel, the producers are able to once again team up with Aaron Kruger, who wrote the screenplay for the American original, but Gore Verbinski, who directed The Ring, was not able to return. Depending on the sources that you find, Verbinski was either too busy prepping for the sequel to Pirates of the Caribbean,
Okay.
Oh.
or he just flat out didn't want to do it.
Okay. I'd believe either.
Yeah.
So producers turned to a director named Noam Murrow and even hired him, only to part ways with him a little while later due to creative differences.
Oh.
Some sources say that they then went to Richard Kelly, who directed Donnie Darko,
Holy
Oh,
shit.
wow.
but he politely declined their offer. So, seemingly scrambling, the producers turned to none other than Hideo Nakata, the original director of Ringu.
Oh, wow.
He also directed its sequel.
Yeah.
And so the producers saw it as an opportunity to return to the source, as they said,
Right.
considering his obvious familiarity with it. He was incredibly influential in crafting the symbols and language of the universe of the film.
Right.
So it's like, who else could do a better job?
Yeah.
So it seems like we would obviously trust his, vision and everything.
Right.
I'm sure that's what happened.
Absolutely. And we'll get to that in a minute. But the timing of the offer was actually perfect because Nakata was actually in Los Angeles at the time, actively seeking his first American film project.
Okay.
He had a few ideas and a few meetings that just fell through, and he was about to give up and return to Japan. But just before he could, he was offered The Ring 2. He was trying to get away from repeating himself. He didn't want to make any more horror films. And so the projects he was pursuing were of different genres.
Yeah.
And so whenever they fell through, he's like, all right, I'll just go back to Japan and make the films that I want to make. And then he gets this offer. It's kind of like one you can't refuse.
Yeah.
Nakata initially said that he was drawn to the project because of the screenplay, which he felt was very simple but strong. And most importantly, nothing like Ringu 2, which he already made in 1999.
Right.
He was also incredibly excited to work with a larger budget, considering the fact that the budget for The Ring 2 was over 30 times the budget he had for Ringu.
Holy shit.
Wow.
So the press at the time and supplemental materials would have you believe that this was a match made in heaven. And everything went smoothly during the production, and everyone was very, very happy with everything that happened.
So are you saying that's not what
Yeah.
happened?
I hate to break it to each and every one of you. In a 2011 interview, Nakata spoke about how painful the whole process was. He said every single day he was given newly written pages of the script, and the producers would lecture him endlessly on how to shoot each and every scene, micromanaging every single aspect of the production.
If you were going to do that, you could have gotten anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why bother me at all?
Why bother him? He did the original.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
It's like, shut up and listen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made this shit.
Yes.
He said that it got so unbearable that he had almost reached his breaking point and was going to flat out quit and leave the country. But instead, he decided to stand up for himself to the producers, and only then did the studio start to treat him with respect and as more of a collaborator in the filmmaking process.
That's wild.
Yeah.
This is mine.
Yes.
Yeah, you're making my stuff.
And to my knowledge, I don't believe he's made another Hollywood film.
Damn.
And I think that is 100% by choice.
Wow.
But despite this somewhat contentious production, the film would go on to achieve box office success, making over $160 million. I think I read that in its opening weekend, it made double what The Ring made in its opening weekend.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
But the reviews were not kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of foretell that these reviews might not be kind. I read very often it's ranked as one of the worst horror sequels because of how inferior it is compared to its original.
Right.
Okay.
And I can't argue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all I got. Now, before we submerge this film, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, let's dive in. Now, this film relies heavily on having already seen The Ring. If you haven't, we suggest you go watch it, or go listen to episode 61 of our show as a refresher. So the film begins with the sound of tense strings in the score as we peer over the edge of a cliff, descending downward into waves crashing against its ragged rocks. We dip briefly to black before returning to survey the sight of murky water floating at its edge as it ripples in slow motion. We then cut to black once more before gliding over an ocean as the score grows ominous. The sunlight shimmers upon the surface of the water, disorienting and blinding us with its brightness as we drift to darkness, fading in on a blue evening, the camera pulling back to reveal the port city of Astoria, Oregon, the buildings of its skyline carved out of the night and lit by the golden glow of street lamps. But deeper within this city, beneath the swaying branches of trees, we find an unassuming house at the center of a suburban neighborhood before soon being taken inside. So, knowing where this film goes and the ending of it, that was kind of a great place to start.
Yeah. I did, and I was like, oh, water? We're
Yeah.
here again? I remember the horses and all that shit.
Yes, they keep her up at night.
Yeah.
They do, which, we'll learn more about that.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that at least is trusting your audience to remember.
Right.
Yeah.
I know what that cliff is.
Yeah.
I know what happened there. I like that.
Yeah.
We continue.
Mm-hmm.
In a POV shot, we sneak around the corner of the hallway and into the living room, where Emily, played by Emily Van Camp, sits silently on the couch. I thought it was funny that she's literally just doing the David Putty, just doing
staring.
nothing here. But leaning over her shoulder is Jake, played by Ryan Merriman, who whispers into her ear, startling her. Emily catches her breath, turning around to greet him with a smile, but Jake seems to have something else in mind, and with a knowing smirk and both hands behind his back, he reveals that he wants to show her something.
Ryan Merriman, Final Destination 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Emily Van Camp, I did remember her face, and I was like, I know you, I know you, I know you. She was in Captain America, Civil War, and Winter Soldier. I do believe she was in other things too, but that's where I remember her
That's awesome.
from. Yeah.
But taking a seat next to her on the couch and setting down a drink for each of them on the coffee table, Jake asks Emily if she's ever seen something so scary that you just had to show someone else. I did like the television being centered in the shot.
Yeah.
Because, we're going.
Mhm.
You know what we're doing. But Emily seems a bit taken aback by the question, shifting nervously as the camera pulls back from the couple and over to an adjacent side table, where an unlabeled VHS tape rests beneath the light of a lamp.
I don't like this.
No.
No, and you know immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, dude, you fucking suck, dude.
Sensing Emily's hesitance, Jake elaborates that he means like a movie or something. But before Emily can offer a proper answer, Jake continues that he's got the scariest freaking movie that she'll ever see. As he reaches over for the nondescript tape, Jake explains that it was a buddy of his who actually turned him on to this movie, and he made him a copy. So naturally, Jake made a copy for Emily. When he attempts to hand it over to her, Emily seems a bit disappointed that Jake only brought her here to watch a movie. This prompts Jake to promise that it's only 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and it'll all be over. He's being a little playful with what he's saying.
Yeah.
But he then sweetens the deal, adding that the video is some really underground stuff. Emily just sits puzzled at the change of their plans, but Jake insists that they'll do everything that they planned, but she's gotta see this. With a soft chuckle, Emily suggests that they could just watch the tape after. This is when Jake's entire demeanor changes, and his request is now coated in a layer of fear. No, you need to watch it now, okay?
You're being really weird about this tape.
Yeah.
And really pushy. Are you like trying to pass something on to me or something?
It's like a chain letter or a curse. After locking eyes with her, and with a deep inhale of reluctance, Emily relents, taking the tape from Jake's grasp. She looks it over, wondering what could be so scary about it. But Jake reaches to softly touch her face, bringing her closer and into a sweet kiss before offering his answer. You'll see. Jake then immediately exits the room, eyeing Emily with a suspicious impatience as he goes.
I feel like I'd be like, you're not going to watch it with me?
It's that.
That is featured in the unrated version.
Okay.
She asks him, she's like, well, why don't you go?
Why are you leaving?
Yeah, why are you leaving? He's like, because I've already seen it, all right?
I don't want to watch
Yeah,
It's very terrible. And he's like, and it's much scarier if you watch it alone.
But
I watched it
why?
alone.
Yeah. We're supposed to be spending time together. Where are you going?
The snapping at me is not going to get me to watch this tape. But Jake bursts into the kitchen, barely able to catch his breath as he gazes up at the digital clock at the corner of the microwave, which glows a green 10:58. Leaning labored against the kitchen island, with the score rising suspensefully around him, Jake begs, play it. Just play the thing. Come on, I've got 2 minutes here, please. Knowing what this tape does, I of course understand his urgency.
Mm-hmm.
But this is very poor planning on your part. If you only have...
Yes. Yeah.
2 minutes for her to watch a 2 minute video.
Yeah. You fucked up.
How long did it take you to get here, dude? Like, what?
So that's something else that is left out of this version of the film.
Yeah.
And there's also a tie-in. It's a short film called Rings.
Okay.
And you see him watching the tape for the first time, and it's kind of everything developing.
Mhm.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll explain very quickly, but he is it's almost like part of this little underground group that roped him into watching it.
Mhm.
And what they're doing is they're getting each of them to watch it and pass it on to each other. And when he watches it, a woman played by Alexandra Breckenridge.
What?
Yeah. American Horror Story.
Yeah.
She is the one that he saves by watching it.
Okay.
And then there's another guy in the group, and he's like, well, he's going to watch it for you after you make your copy. And he gets to day 7 and he goes over to the guy's house and he's like, he has his back against the door. And he's like, nope, I am not watching that fucking tape. And then you pan across because it seems like him and Alexandra Breckenridge's character are like starting to like maybe see each other or whatever.
Okay.
But then the camera pans from his victim, potentially the guy that's supposed to be watching this tape, over to Alexandra Breckenridge, who is in his house. And she's like, we finally got someone that will see what happens on day 7. So it was all part of a thing.
Wow.
And then
That's fucked up.
Yeah. He calls up Emily.
Yeah.
And then...
Okay.
He's like, hey, babe,
Yeah.
will you watch the fucking He just flips the script.
It's crazy. But through the black mirror of the turned-off television, we watch as an oblivious Emily does as told, slowly approaching the entertainment center to kneel down in front of the VCR. After looking it over for a moment, she inserts the tape, watching as the television above her gives way to the bright snow of static. But in the kitchen, we dip down Jake's arm as he reaches for his long sleeve to pull it up to his elbow, revealing a darkened patch of flesh in the shape of a stern, outstretched hand. But in the living room, Emily now sits on the couch, slowly reaching for the controller to change the input for the television. There's just a sidebar, but you get a better shot of the table. And it's very 2005, but you see that he brought them both Sobe drinks. I remember Sobe.
I literally have in my
Paid you
notes,
for
is that a
that.
Sobe on the table?
Yeah.
It took me back.
Yeah. But back in the kitchen, we pan from the microwave clock, switching over to 10:59 p.m. to find a frantic and frenzied Jake waiting at the counter. Unable to tamper his inner turmoil, he rushes toward the kitchen door, forcing it open as he shouts, "Emily, play the goddamn tape!"
Yeah, now, no.
Yeah.
Now you're not getting shit from me.
No.
But he settles back into the kitchen with a relieved sigh when he's met by the familiar warbling, gurgling, and ethereal eeriness emanating from the television in the living room.
I'll tell you, too, it really speaks to the staying power of that first film that
Yeah.
even hearing the sound at the
Oh,
beginning of
yeah.
the tape, you're like, oh, fuck.
Well, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emily sits seemingly transfixed as we watch the grim gray tones of Anna Morgan, played by Shannon Cochran, brushing her hair in an oval-shaped mirror on screen, the shot warping as the mirror switches to the opposite side, and Samara Morgan, played by DeVay Chase, now appears within it, her long black hair covering her face as she slinks backward into an abyss of shadows. The telephone begins to ring in the kitchen, catching Jake's attention, his eyes widening as he approaches it cautiously. But the tape continues to play in the living room, the perilous perch of the cliff where Anna met her end, quickly interspersed with shots of a skeletal tree engulfed in flames, an errant fly buzzing across the image, before returning to Anna at the mirror, turning over her shoulder to peer right at us as skittering sounds scrape their way through the soundtrack. But Jake finally summons the courage to reach for the telephone, his breaths shallow as he places it to his ear, barely able to tremble. Hello? An uncredited voice on the other end greets him jovially. Hey man, you made it! Jake's soul seems to return to his body as the voice continues that he knew Jake would come through, asking if he got someone else to watch the tape. Jake sinks to the floor, catching his breath as he answers that he did. Some stupid chick from his school.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's very wild.
Yes.
So, the unrated version of the film actually opens with the two of them, Jake and Emily, at like this little playground.
Mm-hmm.
And it peers up from their reflection in a puddle, which I thought was very inspired.
Yeah.
But it's Emily asking him, what took you so long to ask me out?
Mm-hmm.
And Jake's like, well, I just was whatever. And she's like, no, but we've been in school together for so many years. And then it's now that you decide. And he's like, well, I've always wanted to, which I think is a really good detail.
It is.
But completely cut from this version of the film.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to mention that kind of contradicts what goes on in Rings, because that group fucked you over. So why are they calling you to make sure you're okay?
Great job, man.
Yeah, that is true.
We couldn't kill you. Good work.
Well, but even that here, what's going on, that's shitty. Oh, I knew you could find somebody to kill or to put this on just so that you can... I mean, I know it's your life, but... If you are doing this, going around and trying to know, bro, right before the week's over, I'm going to watch it for you. And then you do it back for me. And then that's...
Psych!
No.
That's crazy. And she's like, I know I said I wanted him to put it on me, but this isn't what I meant. Not like this.
No.
All right.
Sorry.
So I hope something else doesn't last 2 minutes.
A little decorum, please.
I apologize. I wanted to have fun with everyone. I'm sorry. But the voice on the other end of the phone rejoices, telling Jake that he was afraid that he didn't believe him. But now, it's her problem. He adds that if she doesn't get someone else to watch the tape within a week, she's dead.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was
I
almost dead.
I had 2 minutes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But Jake's friend wonders if he told her what happens, or if he's just going to let her find out for herself. Jake, however, is no longer paying attention to the phone call, his eyes drifting over to the floor where they stay fixed. And there, beneath the kitchen door, leaks a slick trail of dark water, slowly encroaching across the tiles as a fearful Jake reaches his feet, ignoring the pleas of his friend on the other end of the phone, who repeatedly attempts unsuccessfully to get Jake's attention. But Jake stands upright, his eyes never leaving the water as he hangs up the phone, leaving it on the counter as he creeps his way over to the kitchen door. He calls out weakly for Emily, the water soon surrounding him and encircling his shoes as it pools past him and toward the kitchen island. We get a shot of the water from above,
Yeah.
and it looks like a screaming face.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's almost like we know what happens
Yeah.
and how these people,
Mm-hmm.
it's iconic.
Yeah.
But Jake bursts into the living room, his frantic steps carrying him to the couch, where he finds Emily, who sits cowering, her hands shielding her eyes from the screen. He shouts, "Emily, what the hell did you do?" And Emily answers that she played the tape just like he asked, only she didn't look. Fear firmly finds Jake as the static suddenly ceases on the television, capturing his attention. An unearthly hum reverberates through the speakers, and we whip around Jake to get a better view of the television. A brick well rests at the center of a field, surrounded by a circle of barren, branched trees. The shot flickers as Jake falls to his knees before the TV, and we watch him through the other side of the screen, floating through the fog of the fearful forest and finding ourselves just above the mouth of the well, where two withered hands reach upward, gripping the edge as the score rises tensely. From behind, we spy the long black hair and tattered gown of Samara Morgan, played by Kelly Stables, as she climbs quickly, reaching her feet in the field and taking jittery steps towards Jake. Shots cut quickly around her, blood imbuing a body of water, a cell bursting within the body, the wide eye of a horse, and the heavy lid of the well sliding across a bright light at its opening. Emily screams, tears streaming down her face as Jake recoils from the screen, and we cut sharply to static.
I just have a few thoughts.
All right.
Firstly, that's exactly what you get.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did like how this parallels them watching the tape at the beginning of the first one.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. And I will say, Samara, just bravo on your comedic timing, because he really thought he got away with this. She waited an extra few minutes, and I commend her for it.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed by this opening.
Yeah.
I feel like this is what I thought the majority of the film was going to be.
Okay.
Again, following this tape, where it goes, who watches it,
Yeah.
etc.
Right.
Well, the presence of the tape at all in the beginning means that it is still happening and it's still circulating.
Yeah.
So I think naturally you would assume that that's what this movie is, because that's what The Ring is.
Yeah. Well, it did feel that way. We got the fake phone call or the call,
Yeah.
and we thought that that's what it was going to be. It wasn't that. We still got the water kill, the TV, all that. I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't enjoy was the dude's JD Vance haircut. I didn't like that, but we can look past it. He's gone.
I didn't like how he reacted to being killed by Samara.
Yeah.
It was like a bee was ruining his picnic. Like, he did not sell it
no,
at
I'm
all.
sorry.
didn't.
That
Yeah.
happens a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
Yes.
Where we are seeing some fucking horrific shit or some wild shit is going down, and they're like, oh man. It's
Yes.
like, dude,
Do you understand?
you just want to shake them.
Oh, it's a new place. They don't.
Sure. But through the static, we peer up the now sealed ceiling of the well. Haunting hums and hisses abound as we spy the proverbial ring of light beaming brightly around the circle of the well's lid. This, from the first film, was always one of my favorite twists ever of any film, of learning what the ring actually is.
Yes.
It is so remarkable that just the visual of it, it's like a goosebump situation.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
But static soon shivers over this sight, the picture returning inside of the frame of the small articulating screen of a camcorder. Through it, we comb across rows of couches, side tables, and lamps inside of a furniture store, until through the aisle, we find Rachel Keller, played by Naomi Watts, who stands before us, stopping to smile just long enough for her picture to be taken.
Naomi Watts, we talked about her Mulholland Drive and the Ring one.
Of course, yeah. And this movie isn't great.
Right.
I still think she does a good job.
When she's there, yes. When she's doing her thing, yeah.
It's like, and I hate saying this, but we talk about it kind of frequently, of making chicken salad at a chicken shit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like her performance sells so many moments that really shouldn't work.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, we just care about her from the first one.
Yeah.
But Rachel chuckles as Aiden, her son, played by David Dorfman, lowers the camera, and she tells him that it's time to go home.
And David Dorfman, we talked about him in the first Ring and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Grandma!
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Why'd they do him like that?
No, I don't know.
I'm just like, welcome back, Aiden.
Yes,
He's
yes.
still looking as stressed as ever.
Yeah,
He
this
does.
is the most troubled child I've ever seen.
Ari was in here with me when I was watching it, and she goes, that little kid behaves like a little man, and it's unnerving.
I think, and even in the first film, it was like
Yes.
puzzling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's paying the mortgage.
Yeah.
Clearly.
But we then find the pair rounding the corner in their dark blue sedan, followed closely by a truck carrying their purchased furniture in the back, which is wrapped tightly in plastic. Peaceful bells plod in the score as Rachel drives uphill, past a logging truck, with the Pacific Ocean in the rear view and the vibrant greenery of her suburban neighborhood ahead of her. She parks on the curb of her house, a sky blue craftsman bungalow perched on the corner of the street, complete with a wraparound porch secured by a small white fence. I'm like, what's your job?
No shit.
God damn. But once the furniture has been moved inside, Aiden stands at one side of the new blue couch in the living room, offering a slight adjustment with the aid of his mother, who then tends to the coffee table to align it just right. With a large television nestled in the corner just behind her, Rachel surveys her surroundings, surmising that these additions were indeed the right choice. No question. Thought there'd be more to this scene.
Yeah.
That was it.
We're moving in.
Yeah. I will say the production designer was a guy called Jim Bissell, and he actually worked on E.T., Jumanji, and Twilight Zone the movie.
Oh, shit.
But you see throughout the entire film, and especially in their new house, blue and green as the color palette.
Mm-hmm.
They said they were trying to use the natural colors of the Pacific Northwest setting.
Okay.
But I feel like it's kind of a holdover from the first film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But later that night, as Aiden sits at a desk in his upstairs bedroom, admiring the prints from today's photography session, Rachel retrieves a homemade pot pie from the oven in the kitchen, calling out to her son that it's dinner time. Aiden places the new photos inside of the protective sheets of a 3-ring binder, holding it under his arm as he saunters down the steps. Not the dog pile or anything, but firstly, I did want to call out, Rachel pulls the pot pie out of the oven and she goes, "Damn, it looks great."
I know. I was confused too.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's talking about. But as Aiden goes from the second floor to the first, we get maybe one of the worst transitions I've ever seen of just kind of moving that floor out of the way.
Yes.
Instead of it being like this fluid shot that they so easily could have done.
Yeah.
I was really puzzled.
It's a choice.
Not a good one.
Stylistic choice.
I thought it was almost like his bedroom was going back to his home planet. But as Aiden enters the kitchen, taking his seat at the dining room table, Rachel is already making excuses, heading her son off at the pass and letting him know that before he says anything, she wants him to know that she followed the recipe this time. She brings the pie over to him in her oven-mitted hands, assuring him that even though it doesn't look like the one in the magazine, that doesn't mean that it won't taste good. She sighs as she sets the dish down on the table, Aiden more preoccupied with his portfolio than the pot pie. But the photos catch Rachel's eye, and she compliments her son's talents as she peruses them. She then offers with a sincere smile, "He would have been proud of you." Aiden turns to meet her gaze, replying in his own very singular way, "Thanks, Rachel."
It's like, oh, we're still doing the Rachel thing.
Yeah, he doesn't
Okay.
give a shit.
No.
And it's very crucial that we're still doing
Yes.
the Rachel thing. Seeing as they have moved into a new town, you would think that this is pretty fresh off of the events of the first film.
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised that this is kind of all that we get when it comes to talking about Noah.
Yeah.
And it's just brushed under the thing. The last time that Rachel saw him, before the last time she saw him,
Yeah.
he was basically making it like they were going to get back together.
Yeah.
And so I thought that that would be a much bigger thing in this film, but it is barely touched upon at all.
No, I think this is it.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks, Rachel. Terrible pot pie, by the way. Let's move on.
Rachel accepts Aiden calling her by her first name, but as she makes her way back to the stove, she tells him that it wouldn't kill him to call her mom every once in a while. Ma, mommy, just anything other than Rachel. Aiden understands, but he insists that he likes Rachel. He says it has more of her personality in it. This seems to sit well with her, who after bringing the side dishes and drinks over to the table, announces, well, Rachel declares dinner time. She then closes Aiden's photo book, taking her seat at the table as Aiden turns to his plate reluctantly. She asks him if he agrees that it's working out great here, with all the space and fresh air, and she adds that they even have a yard. But Aiden doesn't respond, and instead just silently reaches for his silverware.
Is he upset that they got away?
The whole this
don't-
scene, I'm like trying to figure out what even is like happening.
Yeah.
Is there guilt being carried on from what happened? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because it is kind of like, oh, we're making pot pie, we're buying furniture. Noah is gone. It's just like kind of tonally odd.
Yeah.
I think, well, with her next line, I think that she's sensing that.
Right.
But it also, I don't know, it just doesn't work because she doesn't seem to be feeling anything about anything that happened previously.
Yeah.
No.
But she does sit silently for a moment as well, struggling to find the words before inhaling a sharp breath and politely imploring her son to listen. Soft piano accompanies Rachel's reassurances. We didn't do anything wrong. We did what anyone would do. Aiden faces away from his mother as she concludes that they started over.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like he like looks away. I get it, but we're alive, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I get the guilt though, because it's like, at what cost? Like, what happened? What did we do so that we are still alive? You know what I mean?
But it wasn't gonna stop.
No, it wasn't.
And I mean, I feel like that carries over from the first film because the last thing that he says is, what's going to happen to whoever watches
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
So he cares. But I feel like even that isn't really explored later either.
No.
We get this scene of him kind of feeling a little guilty, and then later on, he's just fucking snapping
He's got
pictures and
Yes.
engaged in a new hobby.
Yeah.
But the next morning, we dip down from the sky to settle on the exterior of the Daily Astorian newspaper building, framed by the light of the sunrise just over the ocean behind it. So I did read in the production notes that they did film in a lot of places to make this film.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of explore a few of them later on as we continue. But a decent portion of it was legitimately filmed in Astoria, Oregon.
Oh, cool.
And the Daily Astorian is a real newspaper that gave them permission to use their name and likeness and the exterior of this building.
That's really cool. I would do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can use it.
Hell yeah.
But they said that the interiors of the building were filmed in Los Angeles at the former Los Angeles Herald Examiner newsroom.
Oh.
But I don't feel any switch.
No.
I think they did really well.
Yeah.
But inside the building, Rachel sits working on the computer at her desk, but she's promptly interrupted by a knock at the door of her office. Max Rourke, played by Simon Baker, is let in, the pair greeting each other as Max closes the door behind him.
Simon Baker. He has a credit in Land of the Dead, 05,
Ah.
and The Devil Wears Prada.
He
in
sure
06.
does.
I was wondering why you look so familiar.
Yeah.
It's because the Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sure.
I feel like, at least in this cut of the film, what is his purpose?
Yeah.
I felt the exact same way. As it goes further into the film, it does feel like he's going to be incorporated more.
Yeah.
And I guess he is, but like at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know that this character needed to be included kind of at all.
He's almost an important prop.
Yeah.
Very fair.
They don't give him a lot to do
No.
because when he walks in, I'm like, okay, this is the new Noah. This is a new like love interest.
Right.
And that's how it is presented in the unrated version.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple more scenes with them and they're talking and everything, and there's him saying awkward shit and being like, oh, it's stupid, or why did I say, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. The scream
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Clutching a small stack of papers in his hand, Max motions through the window of Rachel's office and into the bullpen, asking if she knows how everyone can tell that she used to work at a real newspaper. When Rachel doesn't, he says it's because she's the only one who closes her door. Rachel attributes this to habit, even though she didn't have an office in the first film. But
She's like, I just don't want anybody back.
But Max surveys the space around him before taking a seat on the filing cabinet adjacent to Rachel's desk. Looking down at the papers he brought in with him, Max explains that he actually came to talk about his editorial. Rachel asks if the changes she made were okay, but Max counters that he asked her to copy edit it, not rewrite it. Rachel states that she only rewrote the part about the bond measure, which according to Max was the whole thing. But Rachel seizes on a major correction. It's the bridge that will get the money, not the riverfront, as Max previously wrote.
You're mad that I corrected the shit you got wrong?
Yeah.
Guess, I don't know if he's just using this as an excuse to talk to her.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to fuck up this.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
But Max just clears his throat, crossing over to take a seat right in front of Rachel at her desk. He remarks that a big news day in Astoria is a school board meeting, a car wreck, a cat in a tree. He asks if she's sure that this is the job she's looking for. Rachel simply responds that she's able to be around her son more, and in Seattle, she wasn't. Max accepts her reasoning, rising from the chair and awkwardly complimenting her office as he stumbles over to the door. But before he can leave, Rachel stops him, wondering if he's given any thought to a piece that she has in mind for tomorrow. Max just smiles, telling her not to worry about it as he exits her office. I will admit I felt kind of stupid in this moment because I thought this story that she was pitching was going to lead to somewhere.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to write like an op-ed or a feature story about the ring itself or something, and that he was having to okay it or something.
Right.
But this doesn't matter.
No.
At the end of her day, Rachel gathers her things from the coat rack in her office and steps into the bullpen, where she discovers a crowd gathered around one of the desks, listening intently to a police scanner. A man's frantic voice reports the address to a dispatcher. It's 442 Ridgecrest. He explains that he's already talked to the medical examiner, and they're on their way. As Squad 17 responds to the call, a reporter, played by Jesse Birch, tells the arriving Rachel that the police found a body. Betsy, played by Kelly Overton, also stands by, beaming as she clutches her notepad. Possible homicide. I understand there's a big story for here, but calm down.
Yeah. Too excited.
Who did you kill? Yeah. Is my question. A printing staffer, played by Michael Chieffo, snarks that they should be so lucky. But when Rachel asks what the police are saying, the reporter consults his notes. High school student, male, 17, address 442 Ridgecrest. He adds that the police found the house partially flooded and a girlfriend hiding in the basement, but they're unsure if she's a suspect or a witness. Betsy shares that the guy was found dead right in front of the TV. The printing staffer comments that they keep talking about his face, which inspires a curious Rachel to ask, what about his face?
They want to take his face
off. So I was expecting a jarring shot of his face.
Okay.
Like we got in the original.
Yeah.
And you know, now that I'm thinking about it, we got a very similar moment in Smile.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was influenced by The Ring. But anyway, I was like bracing myself for because that scared the shit out of me as a kid in the original.
But we're then taken to 442 Ridgecrest, the property surrounded by emergency vehicles and swarmed by onlookers who are sectioned off by a strip of yellow police tape. A pair of cops, played by Stephen Holland and Ted Detweiler, guide a shaken and despondent Emily past the ambulance parked out front and into the back of their cruiser, just as Rachel pulls up to the property in her car. She steps out of it and onto the street, peering across the way to see Betsy approaching a detective played by Kirk B.R. Wohler, inquiring if he can tell her what happened or how the victim died. But Rachel watches as Jake is wheeled out of the house on a gurney, covered in a white sheet, as his parents, played by Brendan Tomlinson and Phyllis Lyons, stand frozen in shock on the front lawn with an uncredited police officer attempting to question them about the events of the evening. Just a random aside, but these characters are credited as father of Jake and mother of Jake, and I was like, that's a little too official.
Yeah.
Say Jake's mom.
It'd be a lot easier.
I did notice that.
I was like, what? But Rachel glances over at the police car where a pale-faced Emily sits behind a barred window, the two of them making eye contact with each other as the vehicle drives away slowly.
She's obviously traumatized,
Mm-hmm.
but I was glad to see that she was alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that they said she was hiding in the basement or whatever, but that makes me like, what did she see?
Yeah.
Because she was sitting on the couch when things started to get a little dicey.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting eyewitness.
Yeah.
I've always wondered if they see the supernatural part too.
Or just the contortion or whatever. Like the
Either way,
face.
Yeah.
I don't want to be there.
No.
But like, yeah, what do they see?
Yeah, because what would be scarier? Seeing your
Oh my God.
friend or schoolmate's head go into the TV and then come out crazy, or them just standing in front of the TV and then a split second later their faces changed?
I don't know. I don't want to see either.
Neither. Put me down for neither. Thank you.
But now on a mission, bathed in the flickering red and blue of emergency lights, Rachel marches her way over to the ambulance, sneaking inside undetected and closing the door behind her.
No one
Nah.
is watching the body.
I
Nobody's
know.
around.
That's my note.
Well, he's
Where
not-
is everybody?
He's not getting any better. Like he's
Yeah,
already a
but
corpse.
Come on. The whole truck's off, like they're parked getting lunch.
I feel like someone would be here.
But Rachel cautiously creeps her way over to the gurney in the back, slowly pulling the white sheet downward to reveal a black body bag beneath. Her fearful eyes scan the sight before her as she reaches her trembling fingers to the zipper at its center. She pulls it down bit by bit, the low grind of its unraveling teeth resonating loudly as she stares at the small slit between the two separated sides. Steeling herself, she wrenches the bag open to reveal Jake's pallid and twisted face, endlessly etched in blue veins, his eyes a milky white, and his mouth frozen forever in a silent scream.
Yeah.
No
Gregory
shit.
Peck?
Yeah.
Throw up on him before? What the fuck?
I don't remember that when we bagged him.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that settles it. Okay.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that puts any suspicions to
Yeah.
rest.
Yes.
And these will always look good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got Rick Baker back to do this one.
Amazing.
Okay.
And he said that he kind of came up with the distorted faces like this by standing in the mirror and making faces with his own face. And then he would take pictures of himself and then kind of map out in Photoshop what he wanted to do. But it was just him moving his face around and making scary faces that kind of led. Okay. And it's successful for me every time.
Oh, yeah. But Rachel gasps, her knees buckling as she settles into a seat on the bench across from the gurney. She sobs, begging for this not to be happening. Not here. But the ambulance jostles as paramedics climb into the cab, jolting Rachel out of her dreary daze, and she reaches for the black zipper of the body bag to seal it up again. But just as the zipper begins to catch, a withered, waterlogged hand lurches outward for Rachel, seizing her by the wrist. Samara rises from within the bag, a voice whispering from beneath her long black hair. "I found you."
What the hell?
Yeah.
What is going on?
That was never what this was about.
No.
Rick Baker talked a little bit about how they did the makeup for Samara as well, like the veins and the modeling and kind of the like pruniness of her skin. I think looks really cool.
Yeah.
And tracks for the lore of her character. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He said that they had to use alcohol soluble makeup because anything they did to her had to hold up in water.
Okay.
And so they kind of pioneered a technique where they put appliances on her hands and arms made of the adhesive material that they make casts with. They'd never done this before, but it was able to hold up when she's submerged in water, or no matter how wet she gets, it would still stay on. Because I'm like, I feel like that would be so, you can't go about it the way that you would in normal makeup.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's got to hold up. You know what I mean? But he said what really brought Samara to life, what brings her to life, is the wigs. And I read conflicting things. Somebody or one source said 2 wigs and one source said 3, but that's what really brings the character to life. And he loved kind of the original vision that Nakata had of her just having the one eye. And so he does utilize that a lot, and she wears white contacts.
It all works.
Yeah.
She looks great. Yeah. But it took 5 hours of 3 people doing the application on her makeup.
God damn.
Yeah.
It really is such an iconic look.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that is so recognizable. It's funny to me because Nakata was talking about it, and he said that within Japanese folklore, this is such a common image.
Yeah.
But when it became used in the ring in America, it was like this brand new thing to American culture.
Right.
And so it's just so interesting how something can be somewhat commonplace, and then you take it to another country, and it's like, it blows our minds.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about other Japanese horror films and even like Japanese urban legends,
Right.
it really is like this archetype, and it's very frightening.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
But yeah, I feel like that's why I love kind of international stories and films and stuff like that, because we're able to share the scariest pieces of wherever we came from.
Yeah.
I love it.
It kind of turns the world into like a campfire.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
And I love it.
Yeah.
But Rachel whimpers, tearing herself away from Samara's grasp with all her might, clattering to the floor of the ambulance. But when she glances back up at the gurney with shuddering breaths, she discovers Jake's disfigured face poking out of the unzipped bag, with Samara nowhere in sight. Rachel returns to her car, shivering in a breath that they only made one copy. The thing about copies... It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The very nature of a
Yes.
I don't understand.
I guess it is a bit of a worry that we made the one and it got this far.
True.
Or so many copies have been made that it's here. But I mean, yeah, are we surprised that somebody else?
I was really hoping for more on that, like how it's here, where she and Aiden also ended up.
Yeah.
And how do these people know to be doing that? Like I wanted
That,
more like of a backstory on that, because it's just like, I feel like kind of in this movie, there's several times where we're just like supposed to accept whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And this is one of them where it's just like, oh no, the tape is here now.
Yeah.
Shut up. Deal with it. Accept it. It's happening. And it's like, oh, okay.
And honestly, from this moment when she says this, what I'm thinking is it's going to be her trying to track down
Yes.
every single copy of this tape.
Yeah.
And using her investigative journalism that she did in the first film
Right.
to find and discuss and interview with all these people that have been a part of this.
Absolutely.
I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the scene that follows this, it really continues to lead you in that direction.
It does.
Until they're just like, yeah, we're not going to do that.
No, it takes a hard left.
Yeah.
But Rachel immediately heads to the police station, approaching the front desk and getting the attention of the desk sergeant, played by Michael Dempsey, who rushes off the telephone to answer her. She introduces herself as Rachel Keller from the Daily Astorian, sliding her business card beneath the glass partition. But the sergeant just sighs and says that they'll put out a statement.
I feel like addressing herself or introducing herself as the press was not the way to go. Unless you're sliding like a 50 over with your ID. Like, I feel like that's immediately going to make him be like, get the fuck out of here.
Why isn't she like, I'm that girl's aunt?
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
that.
You know?
I would like expect her to lie before she'd be like, hi, I'm with this newspaper.
Yeah.
Like that. I thought that was really weird.
And all of this is on the record.
Yeah.
She knows better. And
She does.
She's not here in a professional capacity either.
Right.
I was telling JP earlier, we were talking about this film, and I said, I don't know why, but it feels like in a lot of ways they've really dumbed her character down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of this movie is about conveniences in the systems that are at play, in like everything. And
Yeah.
you just need to accept what we need in this scene. And in this scene, Rachel is doing this, and that's just what's happening. Like that's what it feels odd.
It is, because I think, like T was saying, it is, we know Rachel.
Yeah.
We know you're not going to do this.
Well, because it gets even more egregious kind of later on as the film continues. But even now, it's like there was nobody with that body because we needed in that scene for no one to be with
Yeah.
that body,
Yeah.
whether it makes sense or not. You know, like right now, somebody's alone that I don't think should be alone right now.
No,
Yeah, no
It's
shit.
stuff like
Yeah.
that where it's just like, fucking accept it. This is the story that we're telling.
Right.
But as the sergeant turns to walk away, Rachel states that she needs to know about the girl. The sergeant repeats with a little more bass in his voice that they'll make a statement. But Rachel persists. She hasn't said a word, has she? Irritated, the sergeant tells Rachel that she's welcome to wait, motioning over to the chairs at the opposite wall before excusing himself. As he walks away, Rachel collects her business card, but when she turns her head, she sees Emily with her parents, played by Marilyn McIntyre and Cooper Thornton, walking down an adjacent corridor. And yes, they are credited as father of Emily.
Yes. Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah. But after they help Emily into a chair, the parents implore an uncredited detective to let them take her home. Instead, the detective whisks them away to a nearby office for questioning, leaving Emily all alone in the hall. And Rachel, after noticing that the desk sergeant is once again preoccupied by a phone call, sees this as her only opportunity to talk to the girl, and she sneaks over quietly to take a seat next to her. She whispers for Emily to listen to her. I don't know how she knows her name is Emily, but
Yeah.
keep going.
Keep going.
She attempts to comfort her, telling her that she knows exactly what happened. Emily just stares straight ahead, not looking at Rachel at all, until Rachel asks her, "The tape. Did you watch it?" A tear breaks free from Emily's eye as she turns to face Rachel, silently shaking her head no. But Rachel inquires if anyone else Emily knows watched the tape. When Emily shakes her head again, Rachel asks where the tape is. But before Emily can answer, the desk sergeant has stumbled upon their little secret conversation, ordering Rachel to get away from her and calling out to another officer to remove Rachel from the premises.
This looks very out of pocket.
Yeah, you're a suspect.
Yeah.
What are you telling her?
How'd you turn that boy blue?
Yeah.
But before Rachel is taken away, she leans in, her voice more urgent now, as she pleads with Emily to tell her. Emily just lowers her head, shaky breaths escaping her. But we cut abruptly to Rachel, who's returned to 442 Ridgecrest, the area now completely clear of looky-loos and law enforcement.
There's not even like tape or
No.
like those little like thingies marking the evidence.
It's not important.
The little,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
Okay.
I do want to mention they did say in the production notes that there is literally a bridge that connects Astoria to the state of Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would imagine that this case, in proximity, pretty close to Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
I would think that the people that died in the first film, the way that they died and the way that they looked, that would get some attention.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
This boy looks exactly the same. But we're not going to talk about that.
No. Well, Adam Brody isn't here to hold everyone's hand
That's true. Let us
and help
know.
us figure it out at the funeral.
But Rachel steps out of her car, looking both ways before she ascends the driveway of the property, creeping through the darkness of the backyard to approach the patio door, only to learn that it's locked. Instinctively, she kneels down to a collection of rocks that line the lawn, testing the weight of them until she finds one to be hollow, discovering a spare key inside.
Clever girl.
This is really funny to me because I imagine the first dude that did this is like, this is the most brilliant idea that ever
Yeah.
happened. And everyone's like, everybody's got a stone with a key in it. But with the aid of the key, Rachel lets herself inside and makes her way to the entertainment center in the living room. As she crosses over the floor, her shoes squish softly in the water-soaked carpet, giving her pause for a moment before she continues onward. She dips down to eject the tape from the VCR, startled by the mere sight of it sticking out of the machine, but she snags it quickly and exits the house. Tense strings in the score accompany Rachel's drive away from Ridgecrest, following her as she parks among secluded trees. She races to the trunk of her car, still clutching the VHS tape, as she procures a very red can of gasoline and ventures deeper into the greenery. Beneath an old rickety train track, Rachel finds a metal garbage can, snapping into action immediately, dousing its contents in gasoline and setting the can ablaze. In the flickering light of the flames, she tears violently at the thin black ribbon of the tape, wrenching it out of the cassette and throwing the twisted mass into the fire. It crackles and hisses, an unearthly whine escaping the container as the tape warps and withers within the burning debris.
The tape did look like it was crying.
Yes.
I added that in there. I think the tape is screaming.
I don't know if that was intentional, but that added for me so much to it.
I did not have a problem with that at all.
No.
But Rachel stands, panting, as she desperately declares, "Not here, Samara. Not here." Now this seems, one would think, like a logical place to go. You found the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Let's destroy it. Let's burn it.
Yeah.
This would be completely fine if Rachel didn't do this in the first film.
Yeah.
So, like, that this doesn't work.
No. And the result of burning that first tape did not create the problem that we will be experiencing for the rest of the film.
Right.
Samara's like, again?
Yeah.
Nah, dude.
I got something else for your ass. But we rise above the flames, Rachel illuminated by its golden glow, as the tape bursts in a bright flash, a ghastly groan pouring from the ruined plastic. We then find ourselves suddenly on Rachel's street, floating toward her house, where we enter her living room and arc around the television in the corner. It springs to life in a blip of static, eerie sounds echoing as the ring of the well's closed mouth flashes briefly on the screen before dying away. An odd trilling sound awakens Aiden in his bed, and we spy him past the gurgling fish tank on his nightstand as he sits up and steps out of bed. That is one thing I did want to give credit to this film for. That's a weird sentence. I'm trying
We got there.
to explain.
Yeah.
There is water constantly.
Yeah.
I know it's a motif, a very obvious one, but in nearly every shot, there is something.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like it being a motif and it being so tied to Samara and her story and her wrath, it is like this omnipresent, like she's everywhere. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, but I mean, I could have used a horse here or there. You
True.
know what I mean, there was something.
We are lacking horses, for sure.
I mean,
goodbye horses.
Yes. But we do engage with another animal.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Or do we?
Well, they want us to think we did. But he enters the living room, calling out for Rachel and obviously getting no response as he creeps deeper into the room. A static snow fills the television screen once again, supplying a small source of light that shivers across the walls. Aiden finally reaches the coffee table, reaching fearfully for the remote control, but his attempt to shut off the television proves unsuccessful. He cries out once more for Rachel, but when she still doesn't reply, he inches his way closer to the television set, sitting down in front of it and firmly pressing the power button.
This definitely felt like a nod to Poltergeist.
Yes.
Okay.
But rather than it turning off, the screen trembles a haze of tracking before giving way to the frighteningly familiar sight of Samara's well centered among the trees.
I was like, I feel like this is cheating.
Hell yeah. He's been coasting for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be seeing this.
No.
He rightfully recoils, attempting to crawl away, only for his hands to sink into the now soaked carpet beneath him. And as he glances up, perplexed, dark water begins to pour from the cushions of the couch across the room. It begins to pool toward him, pushing him backward toward the television screen, just as Samara rises out of the well and takes trembling steps forward. When she reaches the glass, her hands break through the barrier, seizing Aiden by his throat. He struggles against the spirit, screaming his mother's name, but Samara just drags him deeper into the depths of the television. His legs kick uselessly against the wet carpet of the living room, with his upper body surrounded by the surreal static of the television. But he suddenly wakes up in his bedroom the next morning, shouting for Rachel, who comes running up the stairs to check on him.
What a terrible ass fucking nightmare.
It's awful. But my immediate reaction was, yeah, that better have been a fucking nightmare. Because I was getting annoyed.
No, yeah.
Because it's not fair.
I'm puzzled as to whether or not it was a nightmare.
Okay.
Because everything that follows this, it's as if that did happen.
Okay.
At least she's like, listen.
Yeah. And I think that there should not be nightmares with what we establish later.
No, there shouldn't.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
So I'm a little confused. And it's so weird because they go against what was said in the first film, because Brian Cox's character,
yeah,
he was like, you can hear her in your dreams. You can hear her. She's all the time. It's never. So you're like, okay, well, she's prevalent always.
Yeah.
But then that's something that they try to retcon in this film. But by retconning that, this moment can't work.
Right. Convenience.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're exactly right.
Yeah.
See, this is what Nakata's talking about, getting new script pages every fucking day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Brian Cox was so good
Oh, he
Oh,
was.
in the
yeah.
first one. My
Oh,
God.
yeah.
But Aiden looks around nervously, covered in sweat and catching his breath as Rachel soothes him in her embrace. When he explains that he just had a nightmare, Rachel assures him that it's all right and that everyone has them. But realizing that he's absolutely soaked and freezing, Rachel suggests a change of clothes. Only when she tries to help him out of his shirt, he pulls away from her, not allowing it. She reaches a comforting hand to his cheek, asking him what happened in his nightmare, and Aiden murmurs that he woke up and she wasn't there. I feel like more happened, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
That's all he's willing to share right now. But after what we learned and what we did last night, I'd be like, no.
What?
Was it her?
Yeah.
Like, we
Yeah.
both know what happened.
Well, not only that, him too. We came here to escape what just happened to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be like, it's happening again?
Well,
Anything.
He's got the mortgage. He's got, he's gunning for a promotion. He's got a lot on his mind. I honestly, though, I feel like as his mother, Rachel should be like, she has all of the information.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that Aiden
Yes.
has the information from the first film, but he doesn't know that it literally happened here last night. Rachel
That's
does know
true.
that.
She does.
So her burning this tape and then coming home and her son is screaming and having a nightmare and he's soaking wet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just feel like I would probably put those pieces together.
And I
Yeah.
also want to point out that the tape was also screaming.
The tape,
It was, yeah.
the tape was
The
screaming.
thing about that to me is like whenever in the first film she finds Samara's skeleton in the well
Right.
and Aiden's like, why the fuck did you do that, basically?
Yeah.
She set her soul free then. I guess it has to be set free twice with this.
Yeah.
But it's already been established that she's just out and about.
Yeah,
So any small thing, like you're saying, should raise some suspicion,
it should.
Yeah.
especially with the fact that we burned a screaming tape last night.
Yeah, because this almost feels like either another character consoling him or Rachel pre what happened last night consoling
True.
him.
You know, it would make a lot more sense in this moment if he had that nightmare, like you're saying,
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would.
we learned anything about Emily or Jake.
Yeah.
Or before Rachel learns these things.
Well, yeah, because like you're saying, babe, she does know. And then to just be like, oh, it's okay.
Everyone has bad
Yeah.
dreams.
You know what? I'm a little pissed off now because if you reorder that, it does work a lot better.
Yeah.
Then you could have the dinner scene where she's trying to comfort him in his guilt because that's what she thinks caused the
The
nightmare.
dream is about
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, it's just in the wrong order.
Yeah.
You guys got really close.
Mm-hmm. A for effort.
Yeah.
But Rachel holds her son close to her, promising that she's here now. A sentimental piano sounds in the score as she looks Aiden in the eyes, insisting that all he has to do is call her name and she'll follow his voice, even if she has to come right down into that nightmare with him.
Maybe for some foreshadowing.
Yeah. I wouldn't even call it that.
Some really delicate foreshadowing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's light, but I feel like this would work better in a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's true. That's true.
But all I get from this scene is like Rachel's going in that well. Clearly. But Aiden just glances over to his fish tank as Rachel asks once more for him to tell her what happened in his nightmare. But Aiden turns to look at her again, his demeanor seeming to shift as he lies. I don't remember. Rachel obviously doesn't buy this, but Aiden just climbs out of his bed, breezing past her to exit the room, and leaving her all alone to inspect the stain of sweat left behind on his sheets.
I hope this is sweat.
I hope so.
But wait, for me, you can tell it's a ring. When she moves the blanket, she just puts it back, and then it's like, okay, hold on, was something supposed to be here? Or we just like, you know what, it was a good idea, but don't worry about it.
Like an insert shot.
Right, because it is a circle. You can clearly see it when she moves the blanket and then puts it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand. Use that, even that. Like, that's a clue. Oh, he's lying.
Right.
Anything.
And that's the thing about Rachel in this film is she takes a million years to catch on to what's going on.
Yes. Yes.
I don't understand it, and I don't know if I can attribute it to kind of like a bit of denial or not wanting to believe that it's actually happening. But like Nay said, she literally came face to face with Samara in the ambulance.
Yeah.
She grabbed you and she said, I found you.
Yeah.
There is no room for anything.
No, yeah.
So it does start to feel like a lot of shit is out of order based on the reactions to certain events. Because if they're stacking up the way the film has already stacked them, this is not your reaction.
It's to a frustrating degree.
Yeah. But later that day, Aiden sits on a bench outside of his school. He spies a few uncredited children at play from behind the water of a nearby sprinkler system, the kids' movements jarring and jittery as if he's watching a film with missing frames. But Aiden watches them wordlessly, too preoccupied to hear Rachel calling out to him as she approaches to pick him up from school. Aiden finally snaps out of his stupor to face Rachel, who tells her son that she's been calling him, wondering if he couldn't hear her. After a moment of hesitation, Aiden stutters an awkward apology as Rachel gathers him, and they walk together across the soaked sidewalk and over to Rachel's car.
Something's up with Jack. Something's up with Jack. There's something really wrong.
Yes. Yes.
But the camera then arcs around the Astoria column, past the tourists gathered on the observation deck, and through the expansive trees to find Rachel's car on the road in a wide overhead shot, watching as she eventually pulls off to park in front of a small farmer's market and antique fair. I gotta be honest, and this is maybe me just giving Rachel too much credit based on her character from the first film yet again. I'm like, she's driving to Seattle right now, or she's driving to the Morgan's farm.
No.
No.
I thought she was scooping this boy up. She's like, we got to figure this out.
No, you know what this disturbed child needs?
A fresh tomato.
Well, there's fresh air too, a little bit.
But as the pair get out of the car, Rachel suggests that they can just look around for a little while and see what they have here, tasking Aiden to keep a watch on the backyard stuff. But they walk together, Aiden seeming to wear a small smirk along with his camera, which dangles on a strap over his neck. They pass through a small crowd of patrons, and after about 5 seconds of browsing, Rachel snarks, "Look at all this stuff. Who do you think buys this crap?" This earns an immediate scolding from Aiden because what the hell was that?
Yeah, I know.
He was like, Rachel.
Yeah, it's like, God damn.
There's a lot of people who are buying stuff.
Yeah. And these are your neighbors.
Yeah, no.
Really rude.
But Rachel apologizes, and as she turns to face him and fix his jacket, she kneels down to his level, asking if he's all right. He assures her that he is, but says that he's just a little cold. He then excuses himself, telling Rachel that he's going to go take a look around, which Rachel allows, but instructs him to stay close.
Close to where? You're wandering too.
Yeah.
I'm unsure.
maybe don't let the child wander off.
She watches him from afar, eyeing him somewhat suspiciously as he disappears past the antiques and attractions. Around the corner, Aiden notices 2 uncredited women inside of a booth, identical twins who are also dressed exactly alike, getting bright stars and moons painted onto their faces. They turn to look at him as he reaches for his camera, lining up a shot of their smiling faces before snapping a proper photo. But Rachel browses a collection of VHS tapes that she finds in another booth. Hilariously, every single one of these films is distributed by DreamWorks.
Oh my God.
There's some bangers in that motherfucker.
It is.
I thought of you because I did see Old School in there.
Euro Trip was there. Road Trip was there. I seen them all.
It's a group of films that we shouldn't have been watching as kids. But I will say all of them are distributed by DreamWorks except for one tape.
Yes.
Which sits unlabeled in a plain black case. A low rumble emanates in the score as it catches Rachel's curious eye. And I hope you didn't give a shit about this tape because we will never see it again. Aiden, though, has made his way past the antiques and over to the carnival games, where Marble Man, played by Jonathan Coburn, lives up to his name, offering marbles to passersby. But Aiden notices something off in the distance, past a bright spinning ride, and at the center of an adjacent field. It's a large buck resting next to a doe, and the buck seems to recognize Aiden, or at least something about him.
Right.
As they make eye contact with each other for a moment, Aiden shifts nervously as the camera presses in on him, the score warping weirdly as he steps away, picking up his pace as he passes a squeaking carousel horse. So that is something that is a recognizable visual.
Yeah.
And it is something that does come up a little bit later, something very prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
The deer will also come up in just a little bit. But at this moment, I was kind of puzzled as to what's going on. Why is this deer taking such notice of Aiden?
Yeah.
Because it seems, anyway, with what we're about to see, that something hasn't completely happened yet.
Right.
So, what's the timeline of this?
Huh.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But through the crowd, Rachel now searches for Aiden, calling out to him as she wanders the fairgrounds aimlessly. But Aiden has made his way to the restroom, crossing past the stalls through the dark to switch on the faucet at the sink. Rachel grows more frenzied as the camera swirls around her once she reaches the marble man at the marble stand, still with no sight of her son. But in the bathroom, Aiden steps over to the next sink, twisting the faucet all the way, only to be met with a small, steady drip of water. But a low buzzing sounds from within the faucet, and out of its mouth suddenly crawls a solitary fly, its front legs jittery as it inches its way out and takes flight in front of Aiden's face before landing on the soap dispenser with a vibrating buzz.
I liked how it rubbed its hands together before coming out.
Yeah. Well,
It's planning something.
Yeah. It was very nefarious.
But Aiden steps away from the sink, catching his reflection in a mirror hung on the wall. He begins to breathe heavily, the score growing ominous as he realizes that it isn't only his reflection that he's discovered. Behind him, with her back against the opposite wall, stands Samara, soaking wet in her tattered gown and hidden beneath a veil of black hair. Aiden's eyes widen as he turns to face the fiend, only to discover that he's all alone in the bathroom. When he turns to face the mirror again, he slowly raises his camera to snap a few photographs, the small flash shuddering with each shot. Couldn't be me. I would never.
yeah.
Yeah, he's really taking this very well.
Yeah.
We then get a sputtering insert shot of Samara as a young girl during her interrogation in the psych ward, before returning to Rachel, who finally reaches the bathroom to find Aiden standing in front of the mirror, rhythmically clicking the shutter on his camera. She asks why he didn't answer her calls. Which is like, I was in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You're way the fuck out there in a busy fairground.
Yeah, but that boy don't listen. He probably wouldn't have came in.
That's true.
But the second she touches his skin, she's startled to discover that he's freezing. She kneels down to his level, asking what's the matter with him. Is he sick? What's going on? But Aiden merely repeats what he told her earlier. I'm cold.
All right.
Yeah, we've established that.
Yeah.
Rachel just fixes his coat, hugging him and promising that it's okay. But we linger on her for a moment as a sincere concern seems to settle in.
Real quick for a second, I do have a small gripe with this whole what's going on here.
Okay.
So not only were you anxious or afraid looking through the movies, that blank tape sparked something in you.
Mm-hmm.
So you are worried about something the tape reminded you of. Aiden's wandering around, sees these deers looking at him. You know, he's like, I don't know those guys. Goes to the bathroom. He doesn't want any trouble.
He's like, I owe them $20.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
We see the fly come out the sink. You know
Yes.
something's wrong. The water's not working. You see Samara behind you. And then we have this interaction where she's like, oh my God, you're so cold. Come here, let me warm you up. And then him still being like, nothing's wrong, Rachel. I'm okay. I kind of feel like here, this would have, for me, honestly, if, like you were saying, only 6 months had passed or how many months, whatever, if some time would have passed and then maybe he was a little older and him being in denial or even her being like, nothing, this is coincidence or it's whatever. But this happening so close, then you burning the tape and all that, nobody seems like they remember or understand what we went through. It's all just very, oh no, it's okay. No, I'm fine. Oh, what's wrong with you? Come here.
I'm cold.
Yeah, I just don't. It feels very weird because, again, we're thrown in this world. We see all these things we know. They react to certain things. She, again, anxious when she's seen the tape. He's seen the deers. He acted funny, whatever. But nobody's saying anything to each other.
I think that definitely more time would have at least given us a little more understanding that maybe they do have a false sense of security because it's been so long. She did get spooked by the tape, but she did see the Marble Man after, so maybe that
It cheered her up.
chased her worries away. But I think that the issue is it was too much too soon.
The ambulance.
The ambulance and the finding and burning of the tape. I think all of that was way too much, way too soon, because after she sees either of those things, especially both of those things, there is no plausible deniability.
Yeah.
There is no, oh, Aiden, he just doesn't feel well. Let's go to the fucking fairgrounds. Like, there is none of that. She should have put him in the car and taken the fuck off to wherever to get more information, to try to track the tape down. Something. It doesn't track with what she has already seen in this film so far. Plus, Aiden is really giving Josh from Insidious 2.
Absolutely.
She's like, oh, what's wrong? It's like, he's not home.
No.
He really does, though.
Yeah. You know what also could have worked a little bit better is if she got caught at the ambulance before she could see his face.
Right.
Then she's still speculating.
Right.
That's why she goes to the police station to talk to Emily to see if it is something about a tape.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's a little less heightened already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But to see fucking Twisted Jake
Yeah.
to literally talk to Samara
No, yeah.
Yes.
and then all of this,
Yeah.
it just does not work.
No.
But Rachel speeds down the road, away from the farmer's market, with Aiden riding passenger wrapped tightly in a blanket. As he looks away from her and out of the window, she asks him when all of this started. Was it last night or this morning? I don't think either matters. So I need about 12 hours. I'm like, what? But Aiden simply replies that he doesn't remember. Rachel, who sits in front of one of the worst green screens I've ever seen in my life,
God.
Yes.
understands that Aiden doesn't like her prying, but she says that this is important. She wonders if it was Aiden's nightmare, and when he repeats that he doesn't remember, Rachel implores him to try. She says that Aiden is sick and they need to know what started it. Keeping her eyes almost exclusively off of the road, Rachel finally asks the most pertinent and pressing question. Was she in your nightmare?
Thank you.
This reaches Aiden, who sits shaken as he turns to face his mother. But before he can answer, he peers through the windshield, spying a buck traipsing out of the nearby trees that line the open road. He shouts for Rachel, who finally returns her eyes to the road, slamming her foot on the brakes, the car screeching to a stop, veering halfway into the opposite lane and to a halt right next to the deer, who stares directly at Aiden through the window. Rachel attempts to drive around the buck, but he seems to follow along the side of the vehicle, not allowing her to pass. Aiden trembles. Don't stop! Don't stop! And he screams for his mother to drive. I really think he owes this deer some money. I wasn't joking. Fuck! 'Cause what is this reaction otherwise? But the deer turns his head away, slowly crossing to the other side of the street as Rachel catches her breath. But before she can, the buck returns with a vengeance, charging right for the car, his horns shattering the driver's side window. Aiden watches in terror as the buck's horns twist through the broken window right in front of a cowering Rachel. But at a distance, another buck comes running out of the forest and right for Aiden's side of the car, smashing his window as well, with Rachel pulling her son closer to protect him from this bewildering barrage.
Now, this is a point off for Rachel. You had 2 full-ass business days to leave.
Yes.
And this fool's screaming at
And he's
you.
telling, yeah.
He's like, they mean business.
Yeah. Rachel, shit, his gang came. Mom, go.
But with the bucks seemingly stuck, Rachel floors it, speeding down the road, which jostles them free and tumbling behind them into the street. But right in front of them charges a third buck, which crashes into the front of the car, Rachel colliding with it and sending it over the roof, smashing the windshield and shattering the back window as it clatters clumsily onto the asphalt. Rachel screeches to a stop for some reason.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
I know.
But the deer collect themselves, marching over to Rachel's car, and she remembers that Aiden told her not to stop.
Which once again begs the question, why are we stopping?
Yes. Yeah.
They've already called in reinforcements.
Seriously.
Twice.
It's so weird. She hits this one. It does destroy her car.
Yes.
But then she's like, hey, wait a minute.
I think you're on the deer side.
They just want the boy.
Yeah. But she sits staggered as several dozen deer creep out of the forest and suddenly surround them in their car. Their leader, I guess, approaches Aiden's side of the vehicle, the boy reflected in the black eye of the beast as the score whines. But just as soon as they've arrived, they slowly clear a path for Rachel to leave. Aiden whispers, "Don't stop," as Rachel slowly pulls away, past the gathered animals who block the road, watching them as they depart in the other direction.
So it was just a warning.
I guess so, yeah. They're like, next time,
Yeah.
you pay what
Better
you
have
owe.
So this was a lot.
It was.
Yes.
I did read that this was supposed to kind of mirror and parallel the scene of the horse on the ferry in the first one. I would not draw attention to that comparison because it kind of makes the scene even worse.
Yeah.
This was against a green screen, like T pointed out, very, very obviously. I was shocked and intrigued to learn, though, that this deer did go on to get a role in The Walking Dead.
Was that right?
Oh, okay.
We all remember.
No, it was a fake deer.
Yeah.
They all were.
They all
They said that they had toyed with the idea of using real deer, but that they are difficult to train, and they wouldn't attack the car in tandem like the way that they had wanted. So they physically did the damage to the car of what they thought it would be, and the deer were digitally added afterwards, and they had like the kind of head and, you know, the very front of a deer, they had a model of it for the actors to look at.
Okay.
But the rest they did add digitally. You might be surprised to learn that. But, you know, I just couldn't really believe what I was seeing when I was watching this.
It was wild.
Yes. That's the perfect word for it. And and they always say with the sequels, you want to make them bigger, you want to make them bolder.
Yeah.
One horse in the first film, it accomplished so much more.
It was so effective.
And this how big they make it makes it much worse. It's like 30 deer that are surrounding them.
Yeah.
And there's really been zero connection to Samara and deer.
That's
I know.
what I was
Yeah.
about to say, because they did point out that in Japan, deer used to be considered as sacred animals. And so I did find that interesting, but I think that the horses tie so directly to Samara and her family and her story. And I guess that we could just kind of blanket statement animals are behaving oddly, but I feel like there's such a specific connection with horses.
Yeah.
And so it was very odd to me. I thought maybe you could have a horse at this little fair thing they were doing.
It's a farmer's market.
Yeah. I just,
Yeah.
It's odd to me that they would take it here. It's not even like, oh, we have a bunch of trained deer. Let's throw them in the middle. Like, you didn't even have deer.
No. So you're utilizing nothing.
Yeah.
I just don't know why they did this. I don't know.
I would say maybe because they have hoofs, but I don't know. I think I don't think the deer.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
Same thing, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would have been more like, I don't know. Imagine if there was a horse at the fair and it got spooked by seeing Aiden and escaped.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they encounter it again on their drive home.
Yeah.
All right.
It was just a really odd choice, made even odder by the fact that it doesn't look good. Like, it's not even like this built up to this really epic and amazing scene. And it's just like, oh, we'll accept it because it's so cool.
Right.
It's just a really like odd choices on top of odd choices. And I don't know.
I will tell you, from watching it when I was 14, this is literally the only scene that I remember. And so that's why I was like, I really hope that everything around this is much better than that little bit that I recall.
Right.
And luckily and fortunately, there are a couple of sequences upcoming.
Yes.
That are pretty good.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
But for this one to be, it's just such an odd choice.
Yeah,
It is.
this
It's
just wasn't one of
weird.
them.
No. But when they finally make it home, Aiden rests in his bed, with Rachel taking his temperature with a thermometer placed under his tongue. When it begins to beep, she retrieves it, disbelieving of the reading. 93.9 degrees Fahrenheit. She calls it impossible, and Aiden just turns his head away, earnestly asking his mother, "Rachel, what's happening?" When Rachel turns to face the same direction, she discovers Aiden's fish tank has been completely drained of its water, every single fish within it lying dead among the decorative rocks.
Maybe we should say what we know.
Yeah.
This feels a little more supernatural
Yeah.
than fucking, the deer and the fish both in the span of like 3 hours. Like, come on. But Rachel retreats downstairs, where we find her in the dining room on the telephone, calling in to emergency services. She explains to the person on the other end that her son is very sick. It's his temperature. It's 5 degrees low. Odd way to say that, but
It's almost like it's actually the temperature of somebody else, maybe.
Yeah.
But back upstairs, Aiden rests all alone in his bedroom, lit only by the small glow of a nightlight on the opposite wall. It begins to flicker, but Aiden pays no attention to it and instead just closes his eyes and adjusts his blankets, attempting to fall asleep. In the kitchen, however, Rachel consults a relevant but lazily named text, the Health and Disease Book. As she stays on the line with the hospital. She quickly finds a paragraph in chapter 20 discussing excess cold and hypothermia. Annoyed with the lack of assistance she's receiving on the phone, Rachel expresses her willingness to wait for the on-call nurse, who might be more knowledgeable on the topic of Aiden's ailment. But suddenly, the brightness of the light fixture hanging above her intensifies before dimming to complete darkness. Rachel looks around, realizing not only that all the lights in the house have gone out, but the phone is dead as well. But upstairs, a spectral shadow is cast across Aiden in his bed, the child slinking beneath his sheets as we pan to the other side of the bedroom, where the golden handle on the window at the far wall suddenly twists, opening up to let the evening breeze inside. But still in the kitchen, Rachel flips the light switches on the wall to no consequence before stepping out into the hall to do the same with similar results. In the unrated version, so much stuff happens in this kitchen.
Okay.
All the electronics start going haywire. The oven turns on its own, and it's a gas stove, so flames flick across it.
Oh, shit.
Like in Aiden's room, all the lights start going insane. I don't know why that's not in this version at all. It's just the lights go out and she's like, oh, the lights are out.
Yeah.
And it's much less. And especially if we're dealing with this heightened shit already where you've already been grabbed by a spirit.
Yes.
No, yeah, we're at 10.
Yeah.
Why are we doing it to I've also shut the lights out and opened a window. But Rachel calls out to Aiden upstairs, telling him that the power just went out and asking if he's okay up there. But when her only response is a repetitive scratching sound, she assumes it to be her son and races upstairs to check on him. Once she makes it to his bedroom, she notices the opened window and crosses quickly to the far wall to close it, scolding Aiden that it shouldn't be open. You fucking think that he
His
got
freezing
out of
ass.
Yeah. What the hell?
I will say, too, taking his temperature, this boy is not leaving my sight.
No.
Yeah.
We can make the phone call right next to the bed.
Yes.
She's like, I don't want to worry him. It's a good thing that I have this health and disease book. But she clears a tall branch out of the way, closing the window and locking it. But when she turns around, she stops, shaken to discover the source of the sound that brought her upstairs. In the slices of light pouring in through the window, Samara stands facing the wall, the flesh of her small hand as gray as her dingy gown as she claws incessantly at the wallpaper. Horror grabs hold of Rachel as Samara turns to face her, and Rachel snaps into action, rushing over to Aiden's bed to wake him up, telling him that they need to go.
Does she live here? Are we just used to seeing her?
She's like, hey, she's back. We gotta get her.
This is such an underreaction.
It is.
Even if
It
you're
is.
trying to keep it cool for your kid.
Yeah.
But he knows all of the. I don't know. This is wild to me.
It is crazy. So Samara's just a ghost, full-fledged ghost now.
Full bodied.
Well, I'm saying, yeah.
Scratching at the walls, and she's like, all right, Aiden, let's go.
And that's another thing that's wild is these tapes are still circulating.
Yeah.
Aren't you fucking busy? All these people watching it. How many people are reaching their 7th day right now? And they're like, hey, guess I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, she said, I found you. She wants them.
But why?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then what's the point of the other tapes then now?
Great question.
They do nothing.
No.
I don't know. She's busy. All right.
All right.
But when Rachel tears the blankets from atop his mattress, she uncovers nothing but his pillow beneath them. She peers perplexed across the room, where she sees not Samara, but Aiden, standing with his back to her, sharp scratches carved into the wallpaper just in front of his face.
Yeah, this is real bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like this told you everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how much more you need. You're an investigative journalist.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go to my friend's house.
Rachel demands to know what he's doing over there and orders him to get back into his bed.
I thought we were leaving.
Yeah.
I can't. She's like, you're fucking up the wall.
This is a rental.
This is just too much.
That trumps what we just saw?
Yeah. He's like,
She's
go
like,
to
"Oh,
sleep.
Yeah, that's not scary no more. You're fucking the wall up, dude.
It's just Aiden. It's
But Aiden turns slowly to face his mother, stating simply that he saw something. But before her eyes, the scratch marks on the wall suddenly begin to burn brightly, and to the accompaniment of tense strings in the score, they are etched deeper, stretching outward, smoldering a shadow in the shape of a towering tree. Aiden stands as if in a daze at the trunk of the tree until Rachel takes swift steps over to him, pulling her son away from it, the pair watching breathlessly as the branches burn upward into the ceiling. Aiden whispers, "I saw it. I saw it in my head." But Rachel ushers him down the attic steps and out of the house. I will say, visually, I did like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's another visual from the videotape, one that we all remember and recognize because it's another iconic thing.
Yeah.
The tree, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I am grateful that from this point on, there is no room for any denial.
Yes.
Because if this was added onto everything else we've already experienced, and Rachel was still acting like, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it would,
That would be-
kind
Right,
of unwatchable.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Rachel speeds through the evening streets in her wreck of a car, one headlight leading her to the Daily Astorian building where she parks, retrieving her blanket-wrapped boy from the passenger seat and guiding him inside. Upon her arrival, Rachel is immediately approached by Betsy, who rises from her desk in the bullpen, asking, "About my story."
Are you fucking for real?
Yeah.
Rachel just breezes past her, answering, "Not now," as she leads Aiden into her office. I don't know why I expected the building to be empty.
Because
Yeah.
it's nighttime. And like the whole staff is there.
Yeah. But Max steps out of his office just in time to see Rachel closing her door, and he stands puzzled, clutching a small stack of papers in his hands. But in her office, lit dimly by a tableside lamp, Rachel sits Aiden down on the couch, pulling off her jacket and taking a seat right next to him. She holds him comfortingly as she reveals to him that last night she found a tape. She explains that it was one of hers, and she made it so that they'd never have to see this tape again. So the tape at the farmer's market,
Yeah, well, that was just a maybe.
because I'm like, you know, if that's our goal is to destroy every, like, we should have seen her buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have seen her destroying it or something. But she left it there for anyone to find, for anyone to watch. So no, you didn't make it to where you would never have to see the tape again.
That's true.
She's like, I'm sure that one was just like Simpsons reruns or something.
Yeah. It just lost the
It's
fucking,
fine.
you know. A trembling Aiden nods in understanding, but Rachel realizes that what she did might make Samara want to hurt them. She pleads with Aiden that if he knows anything, if he knows why Samara is here, he has to tell her. Aiden lowers his eyes away from his mother, but Rachel lifts his chin and asks concretely, "Is she here to hurt you?" Choosing his words very carefully, after taking a brief glance into the surrounding darkness, Aiden whispers his answer. "She can hear us. She hears everything, except when we sleep." Rachel doesn't understand what this means. So Aiden elaborates. "We have to sleep." But the pair are then interrupted by Max, who knocks on her office door, politely asking if he can come inside. Rachel reluctantly grants him this permission, and Max lets himself in, closing the door behind him. He inquires about her car, having learned of its current condition, and he asks if she and Aiden are okay. Rachel vaguely responds that they got hit, and seeing as no one was hurt, this is good enough for Max, the journalist. He leans down to the eye level of the little boy, asking, Aiden, right? Before introducing himself and offering his hand for the boy to shake it. Rachel furrows her brow in disbelief at Max's timing, and Max withdraws his unshaken hand.
First of all, this is very out of pocket. This child is in his pajamas wrapped in a blanket.
Yeah.
Clearly unwell. But I think even at his best, Aiden is not checking for this dude.
No.
I don't think he would have appreciated this
No.
anyway.
And in the unrated version, Max is also at that fair.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, he meets up with Rachel and they talk a little bit and they talk about Aiden. And Max says something along the lines of, I can't wait to meet him. I wonder how much he is like you. And Rachel walks away and he's like, stupid.
So it's like a running
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
I think that adds a lot more because he is I think I already said it doesn't feel fully realized or utilized.
Right.
Because it's like he's only here when we need him to be here for this scene. And then we need him to help with this and then he's gone. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe if we gave a shit about him or had a clear understanding of what his and Rachel's relationship is, maybe things that happen later would mean more.
Yeah.
Very fair.
That's what it was for me. Because I wanted to know, in a weird way, like not how much to care about your character, but how much to care about your character.
Right.
If you are coming in as Noah's stand-in or whatever, if this is the new love interest or anything, put that there, because it does just feel like you're saying he was just there for certain things to happen. And then there's no personality to that.
And the fact that he's a journalist,
Yeah.
he could have been utilized in multiple ways, not
Yeah.
only as her friend / love interest or whatever, but like, hey, I'm dealing with something, I'm chasing something, help me.
It's a good way to insert details that we need to know.
It is.
Because he's a new character. He's finding out, we're going through this and learning through his eyes.
And
Yeah.
if we're kind of, calling back to the backstory in the short film Rings, maybe they've heard of this tape going around and these kids fucking around and some kids got hurt or some kids died or there's been rumors or whatever because they're new here, but he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like this is a wasted character.
And honestly, whenever she got to the crime scene, why was it Betsy and not Max trying to interview the detective? Like that,
Yeah.
have more continuity with him always being there.
Right.
It really just is an odd thing.
It is.
And we have him being the one to tell Rachel, like, nothing happens here.
Yeah.
Something has happened here.
Yeah.
This should be another conversation that they're having, that there's like, hey, there was a fucking murder, maybe?
Yeah.
A death. A boy was drowned in his living room, it seems.
Yeah, yeah.
So, again, are we a newspaper or are we not? Like, what the hell? And then when Rachel comes in, Betsy's like, about that story. It's like, what, about the fair or what? Like, can we talk about the fucking murder?
Oh, yeah. Why is that not being talked about?
I don't know. But Rachel shares with Max that Aiden is sick. And when asked how sick, Rachel isn't able to answer. Instead, she stands from the couch, stepping closer to Max and earnestly asking him for his help. We cut to Rachel and Aiden being driven by Max out to his farmhouse in the dead of night, the beaming headlights of his truck carving their path to park out front. Max carries Aiden inside, Rachel following him as they head upstairs, where Aiden is taken into a room and settled beneath the blankets of the bed. Max gathers more blankets for Rachel to wrap Aiden in, but he wonders if Aiden would be better off going to the hospital. Rachel replies succinctly, "No, he's fine." This is good enough for Max, the journalist, who exits the room to run a bath for Aiden at Rachel's request. Rachel sits next to her son, brushing her fingers through his hair as she promises that she'll be back after going to their house to get some of their things. And afterwards, she assures him that they can leave here and never return. Aiden nods in agreement, and Rachel embraces her son warmly. She then leads Aiden across the hall and over to the bathtub, the faucet still filling it, as Max explains that it might not be the best water pressure, but it works.
Water pressure for the bath?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Just checking.
That's not how that works, really, but you know. Rachel runs her hand under it, thanking him, but still doesn't seem to understand how they could have lost power at their house, noting that the rest of the block seemed fine.
So now we don't know what's going on.
No.
Yeah, see, and this is a problem because I forgot about this line. A fucking tree burned into your boy's room across the wall and the ceiling.
That's right.
And that's why you left.
No,
She's like,
that has
"I'm gonna
nothing to do with the power.
Yeah, I'm going to go
Nothing.
check the fuse box.
Yeah, it's not like you tried to run him a bath and it didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And maybe it's not an overloaded fucking breaker. Maybe it's the vengeful spirit that you've been battling for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I am also screaming at the TV at the thought of her saying, hey, I'm going to go run to the house real quick.
Right.
I'm going to leave the opportunity for anything to happen to you. I'll be right back.
I said I wouldn't have left him alone in his room to go downstairs.
In water,
Yeah.
which we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a motif. As
It
we
is.
said before.
Yes. But regarding the power outage, Max assures her that he has plenty of candles here, just in case the problem spreads. Rachel then tells Aiden that he needs to get into the tub to raise his body temperature, but when she retreats over to Max by the bathroom door, Aiden just stands at the side of the tub, hesitant to step inside. She tells Max that she just needs to run to their house really quick to gather some items and some medicine. Asked without her outright asking, Max agrees to watch Aiden for her while she does this. But she then returns to Aiden, removing the blanket from his shoulders and setting it on the bathroom heater, imploring him to get into the tub. He stands there nervously in his boxers, Rachel reminding him that it's just water. But Aiden asserts, I don't want to, Rachel. Rachel then asks if he wants her to get into the tub with him, and his lack of a response seems to be enough of an answer for her. She helps him inside against his clear reluctance, settling him into the water. She kneels at the side of the tub, gently splashing the water over him and assuring him that it's nice and warm as he sits trembling in seeming terror. She encourages him to just relax. Before exiting the bathroom and leaving him there all alone, you just said that you were going to get in there with him.
Yeah.
He didn't say no.
No, that was a threat.
Yeah.
That was a threat.
What the hell is this?
Are you not going to get in? You want me to get in with you? And then he finally did.
I thought it was comforting.
No, I thought it was like, what do you want me to get in with you? And he's like, nah, bitch, I'll fucking get in the tub. But it's like in the last scene, just was like, she hears everything that we're saying.
Yeah.
Like, and where she's just like, get in the damn bath.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
There's also the aspect of her knowing that Samara hears everything, and she's like, well, I'm leaving this boy all alone.
Yes, the
Goodbye,
opportunity. It was very infuriating. Again, the water. What do you mean you don't understand the water? You know.
Yes.
And he's terrified.
Yeah.
Just saying that he doesn't want to.
He was acting like a cat. His fucking paws are on the side of the porcelain.
It's just like you're not retaining anything
No.
that you're learning. I just don't understand.
But Aiden sits fearful in the water, his eyes watching the steady stream fall from the faucet. But as he glances downward, the drain suddenly widens, morphing massive into the long mouth of Samara's well. We travel downward, brick by brick, into the waiting water below, Aiden shuddering as a disembodied scream surrounds him. But we cut to Rachel, who has left Max's farmhouse completely, borrowing his truck to return home as she planned. She parks out front, climbing the steps of the porch to head inside, but once she makes it up to the attic, she stands stunned on the stairs, surveying the sprawling tree still burned into the wall and ceiling of Aiden's bedroom.
Did she forget?
Yeah.
Well, I think
so.
she did.
Yeah.
Seriously.
When she got there in the truck, I was like, you for real left this dude in the tub with the door closed by himself.
Absolutely. But Rachel quickly returns to herself, rushing over to Aiden's dresser to gather items from his drawers. But then she makes her way over to his desk, discovering Aiden's camera, and deciding in this moment to cycle through the photographs.
Let me see how he's coming along with this photographer.
Like maybe a little encouragement might make him feel better. In the small screen, she sees the photos that Aiden took at the farmer's market, the smiling twins seated at the face painting booth, the marble man offering a grin, and a photo that Aiden did not take yesterday. But the next series of photographs prove far more troubling. In these photos, Aiden stands in front of the bathroom mirror, clutching his camera in front of him. But in the flash of the snapshot, Samara appears a distant blur behind him against the wall. But as Rachel cycles through each subsequent shot, Samara inches closer and closer to Aiden, her reflection somehow glitchy and jittery within the pictures until she reaches the foreground, floating just over Aiden's shoulder and peering down lens. Rachel shuts her eyes wearily, seeming to finally grasp what exactly has happened to her son.
Good thing she took the detour to check the photo.
It's very crucial because otherwise I don't know what's going on.
Because it wasn't the twisted face of the dead boy.
No.
It wasn't burning the screaming and crying tape.
No.
It wasn't Samara emerging from the body bag in the ambulance, gripping her and saying, I found you.
Yeah, not enough.
No.
It wasn't seeing her in Aiden's bedroom scratching up the walls.
Coincidence.
It was...
Trees are common.
Yeah.
It wasn't the burning tree blooming in the room.
Art. It's art.
And it certainly wasn't Aiden himself saying that she could hear everything they're saying. The photos.
Yes.
The photos. Thank God. It's we've arrived.
Right.
At least we're here.
One thing I will give the film, I thought Samara being glitchy and jittery even in the photos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's what makes this film so difficult, because I can't write it off as, oh, this is garbage. Like, this is a trash sequel, because it's not. There are some really cool moments.
Yeah.
But then it's like, narratively, what are we doing when the story was really, really good in the first one? You know what I mean? It's just, it's a kind of maddening. Like,
it is.
It's just.
Oh, trust me, it is.
Oh,
Yes.
and not to mention the interaction with the deer and him having the temperature of a dead body.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. The photos. Photos.
That has to work.
The marble man or whatever.
Yeah. Back at the farmhouse, Max climbs the stairs to the second floor to go check on Aiden. But before he can make it to the open door of the bathroom, the telephone rings in an adjacent bedroom, and Max takes a detour to answer it. The camera hovers above the stairs, the sound of water still flowing from the faucet in the bathtub, as Max greets Officer Ray on the other end of the call, answering again and again in the affirmative, before commenting that Ray's information all sounds like page 26 to him, dismayed that the officer doesn't have any real headlines to offer. Just a couple of things. You have a source in the department who is calling you about leads. There was a death tonight that is a pretty big story.
Mm-hmm.
Why was Betsy there if you're on the crime beat? Like, I've worked for a newspaper.
Yeah.
For a town this small, or at least the way they're making it seem as far as news stories are concerned,
Yeah.
if that's your beat, that's your beat.
Right.
Why... And why is it like, man, this all sounds like page 26 to me? A boy died!
Yeah, no shit.
And the girl is shaken, potentially having killed him.
And
Right.
I was going to say, in a really fucking weird way, too.
Yeah. No, you're right.
He's like, boring.
Yeah. And another thing, if Max has these connects in the police department, why wouldn't Rachel call upon him for his help when she's going there and she just ends up making an ass out of herself and getting thrown out?
Yeah.
Utilizing this establishing him as this dude that has these connects and whatnot could have been a way to integrate him into the story more.
Right.
And make him more a part of it, more fleshed out, more of a character.
Well, because he would have been with us. He would have been in our face the whole time.
Yeah.
Even if they were just friends, he's there. We care.
Or she could go to him and be like, I know that you have somebody on the inside. Please, what the hell is going on? You know what I mean? Even if he wasn't there, she could go to him, I don't know, instead of going to the police department and being like, yes, I'm the press, please.
I agree. I need full access. It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
But Max steps into the hall, diverting momentarily into pleasantries before finally doing his job and asking his contact at the police department to look into the accident reports for today. He wants him to see if there's anything in there about a woman and her son. He advises K for Keller, assuring the officer that it's nothing, but he's just trying to get a story straight. But behind Max, the bathroom door suddenly creaks, catching his attention when it closes completely. He rushes off the phone, crossing over to knock on the door and check in on Aiden. But when there's no response and Max finds the door to be locked, he politely asks Aiden to unlock the door for him. Max's only response is the steady stream of water that suddenly pours from beneath the bathroom door. Something very funny about this moment is that it is established later that there is a keyhole on this door. And the links that we go to not
not use the key.
Yes, in the house that you own.
Right.
It's pretty wild. But Rachel finally returns to the farmhouse, just in time to find Max pounding on the bathroom door, shouting for Aiden to open it. He charges for it, but when it doesn't budge, he stutters to the arriving Rachel that Aiden's still in the bath and that the door was just open a second ago. Rachel takes over, attempting to reach Aiden on the other side of the door as Max rushes off to find something to break it down.
He was up late watching The Shining last night.
Sorry, I've always wanted to do this. The score rises tensely as Rachel pleads with her son, kneeling down to peer through the keyhole of the knob, only for water to pour through it, adding to the accumulating pool that now surrounds Rachel and extends halfway into the hall. Rachel touches the water with her hand, seeming to grow more concerned after doing so. It's water.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's still wet.
There's time.
What the fuck?
But when Rachel glances back at the door, a flood falls freely from the top of the frame and down to the floorboards. She gasps, reaching her feet and calling out for her son. Still with no response, Rachel charges the door with her shoulder, her frantic fingers unable to twist the knob. But the moment she lets go of it, the brass ball turns all on its own, the bathroom door yawning open to let Rachel inside. Shock settles certainly in her eyes as her mouth hangs agape at the sight before her. Aiden still sits, huddled up in the tub, but the water within it rises all around him, his skin untouched by it, as the droplets defy gravity to flow upward, even from the faucet, to collect in an undulating sea across the ceiling. Rachel rushes to rescue her son, only to slip and fall onto the bathroom tiles in a heap. But when she collects herself and reaches the tub, she sees Samara's mottled arms wrapped around Aiden in an embrace. She seizes her son by the shoulders, shaking him and pleading with him to look at her. But when Aiden lifts his gaze, his eyes appear colorless and hollow. A shriek in the score punctuating Rachel's fright as she stumbles backward, releasing Aiden from her grasp.
That looked really creepy.
Yeah. This whole thing.
It's really good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But Aiden's eyes return to their proper hue as Rachel struggles to catch her breath. Without warning, though, the water rains down from above, a cascade crashing down onto everything below it, knocking Rachel to the floor and overflowing into the hallway.
Now you've got a lawsuit on your hands.
Yeah. Who's cleaning this shit?
Literally.
When Rachel lifts herself up again, she reaches for the edge of the now filled tub, reaching desperately into the water to retrieve Aiden, only for Samara to rise from the depths, clutching her shoulders as she screeches, "Mommy!" Rachel struggles against Samara momentarily before gaining the upper hand and proceeding to force her beneath the water to drown her.
Immediately deciding to drown her was a choice.
Yeah.
There was no hesitation.
Naturally, this is when Max returns, sloshing through the water in the hall to reach the bathroom, where he finds Rachel holding Aiden under the water, her son reaching weakly for his mother's wrists from below. Max screams, "Rachel, no!" And this seems to return her to reality, and she quickly lifts a coughing and choking Aiden from the tub.
This couldn't have looked worse.
No.
Yeah.
Hello, 911. This is unbelievable.
It's kind of like when you're watching Friday the 13th movie and it's fine. Jason's doing what he's doing. Then somebody walks in and then Kevin Bacon's like,
Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah.
like, oh shit. I promise that wasn't happening a minute
not
ago.
what
No. It was a slasher.
Oh, he was, all right.
But Max stands absolutely flabbergasted in the doorway as Rachel tearfully apologizes to Aiden, holding him close to her as she tries to explain that it wasn't him and that she was only trying to help. Dark, angry handprints rest on the flesh of Aiden's back as Rachel embraces him, but Max approaches the bathtub, shutting off the faucet and snagging a towel for Aiden. Rachel lifts her son out of the tub at Max's direction, wrapping him in the towel as Aiden shivers fearfully. Why is she doing this to me? Rachel insists that she's here to help, but Aiden turns his attention to Max, his voice quavering as he asks in seeming ire, "Why is she doing this to me?"
Let's be specific.
Yes.
Let's go.
Who's she?
Yes. So there's this ghost girl from the videotape of me. It's like, can you fucking say that, please?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Rachel is making it
looks
even
so
worse. She's like, I'm only trying to help.
Yeah.
It's like, can you fucking say that there's a thing going on?
That's
Please?
not what it looks like, man.
Max comforts Aiden, promising that they're going to make him better and that they're going to get him to a hospital. Rachel refuses this, certain that it won't help, but Max just pulls Aiden away from her, reminding Rachel that she wanted his help, and now she's going to get it, starting with Aiden being taken to the hospital.
Good.
Yes.
Mind you, they've not told him any of the weird shit that's going on.
Yeah.
This
True.
looks insane.
Mhm.
He ushers the boy out of the room, leaving Rachel to sob all alone on the bathroom floor. So I just want to talk about how this scene was accomplished,
Okay.
because it is some very good work.
Yeah.
I saw in a featurette that they built an upside-down set, and they used 100 small wires to hold everything in place, and they actually legitimately flooded the ceiling, which was the floor of the set.
Okay.
Peter Chesney, who worked on the special effects, he talked about how he did a test run with a bathtub that they mounted into a ceiling and had his son, who I think is also working in special effects, sit in the tub with a harness, and they were trying to figure out the best way to do it to where the water looked a certain way.
Yeah.
And so I do wonder, because they didn't make it clear, if David Dorfman was sitting in that tub
Right.
in a harness.
Yeah.
It's clear that some of the water droplets that are there are aided or enhanced with CG,
Yeah.
but I think that some of the water that we see is legitimately water that was practical.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It looks really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever CG was used, it looks really, really good.
Yeah. And like you said a minute ago, this is the thing that makes it hard because the story it's not really, it's doing its thing.
Yeah.
But this looks good. This whole sequence here is cool.
Yeah.
Mhm. And they did a legitimate stunt when they cut it to where the set is back upright.
Mm-hmm.
They have tanks up in the ceiling, and they made them clear so they could shine the lights through, but they really dumped a ridiculous amount of water down onto the set.
Wow.
So that part is actually legitimate.
Okay.
But again, I feel like it's exactly as you're saying, where the deer did not work.
Right.
But then there are moments like the tree in the bedroom.
Yeah.
This entire sequence, I think, is fantastic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just a shame that what's around it is so lacking.
Yeah.
But the following morning, we're taken to the Astoria City Hospital, where Aiden rests in a bed beneath blue blankets hooked up to several machines. Rachel stands next to him, consulting with a doctor played by James LeJour, who explains that they're working to raise Aiden's core temperature, sharing that he was at 90 degrees when he came in.
I violated what law?
Yeah.
He asks if Aiden was outside overnight, and when Rachel tells the doctor that he was at home with her, the doctor responds that a body doesn't develop severe hypothermia on its own. But he says, whatever the cause, Aiden is fighting it, and it seems like he's stabilizing. Rachel notes that Aiden is just sleeping now, and the doctor confirms this as we press in on Aiden, the doctor adding that he's having some kind of dream. It's like, why would you say that?
Yeah. I don't know.
Strange, clunky line aside, this is showing that Aiden is safe right now,
Yes.
following his logic.
Yeah.
But we cut to Rachel, who sits alone in the cafeteria of the hospital, resting wearily in her chair in front of a cup of coffee. She's soon joined by Max, who pours a cup for himself, asking accusatorily, "What's the story, Rachel?" Rachel answers that the doctors have stabilized Aiden's temperature. That is not what Max meant.
No.
He meant the story with her and Aiden, remarking that she seems awfully hard on him. Drowning!
Yeah.
I wouldn't describe it that way.
She didn't snap at him like raising her voice.
Yeah.
She was actively drowning him.
He's like, wow, you're strict.
No dessert? When Rachel doesn't respond or even look up at Max, he parks himself in the chair across from her. He levels with her, acknowledging that it's a stressful time, moving, creating a whole new life. But he suggests for her to tell him what's going on. Rachel fidgets nervously with the strap of Aiden's camera, which sits next to her cup of coffee, lamenting that all she only ever tried to do was the right thing for Aiden, but it only ever made things worse. Max supposes that it wasn't the right thing then, was it?
Okay. My thing is you need to stop speaking cryptically, and you need to stop speaking cryptically right now.
Yes.
Because that sounds, that could be read many different ways, not all of them favorable.
It doesn't sound good.
No,
No.
especially when he just saw what appeared to be you trying to drown your son in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that line is something that Margaret White would say.
Yes!
Like, it's not looking good.
No.
But Rachel then turns the camera over to Max, the last photograph that Aiden took in the bathroom shown on its small display. She asks Max what he sees in it, and Max sighs. Well, it's Aiden. But when he takes a closer look, he notices the little girl standing behind him. Rachel asks, why is she there? Why is she in all of them? At first, Max wonders how he should know. But when he begins to cycle through the photos himself, Rachel finally lets him in on the full story.
The thing is, these photos aren't just like it's a girl standing behind
Right.
Aiden.
Right.
Yes.
They're like one. They're together.
There's something supernatural happening
yeah,
in these
yeah.
photos.
Yeah, and the last time we looked, she's glitching in the photos.
Yeah. So how is that? It's just like, oh, there's just some girl. Why? What's wrong? What?
He's like, these
He
are
went all-
Aiden's MySpace photos. I don't
Yeah.
He went all primal fear. How the fuck should I know?
Rachel explains that the little girl's name is Samara and that she was murdered by her mother and left to die at the bottom of a well. Max is like, she's who? But Rachel continues that Samara didn't die, at least not her ghost. She confesses that she let it out, it spread, and she and Aiden ran away. Max doesn't understand, and Rachel admits that it sounds completely crazy, but Samara is here now. She's found them. She says that she thought that Samara just wanted to hurt Aiden at first, but now she understands that it's much more than that. She wants to be him. She wants to live for real this time.
We are belittling the hurt Aiden part.
It's like that we can get past. Tears streaming down her face, Rachel covers her eyes, collecting herself before earnestly asking Max, "You tell me, who can help me? Who?" Max assures her that there's got to be a rational explanation for all of this, but Rachel just suggests that Max take Aiden's picture then, and tell her why Samara's in that one too. She stands from the table, tossing her purse over her shoulder, as Max demands to know what it would be proof of. That Aiden has a ghost inside of him? Rachel answers no, but says that the proof is what will happen next. She exits down the long hall to return to Aiden in his room, leaving Max all alone to look at the pictures on the camera.
I know we're not talking about it anymore, but why didn't she say that it connected to the boy that died the other day today or whenever that was?
Yeah.
That is a great question. And again, that makes it make more sense if you have Max be the journalist on the case.
Yeah.
Because then he knows all the details of this case. He knows how strange it is, how the police are also confused about it.
Yeah.
And now Rachel has the answer to why all of this happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why the crime scene looks like this. Why Jake died this way.
Right.
But instead, that just feels like it was from a different movie.
It does.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything to this story or anything that's happened.
But that's what we were saying earlier about conveniences. It tied the first one to this one, and now we're done with it. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
But Rachel pulls a chair next to Aiden's hospital bed, conversing with her still sleeping son. She reminds him of what he said earlier, that Samara couldn't hear them when they sleep. And since he's sleeping now, she pleads with him to tell her how to stop Samara, how to help him. She begs, promising that she'll do anything. But when she receives no response, she leans forward to give Aiden a kiss on the forehead.
At least she is listening to what he said.
Yeah. I do think it's kind of lazy screenwriting to be like, remember all the things that you told me earlier?
Yeah.
But just as she turns away, Aiden reaches firmly for her wrist, latching onto it, and we suddenly dive through the depths of the well and into Aiden's mind, splashing through water below the glimmering light of a crescent moon. As eerie sounds surround us, we survey a fountain from a second-floor window before cutting abruptly to what appears to be a drawing of 4 silhouettes clasping hands in a circle within a haze of shadows. A woman then carries an embroidered suitcase through an expansive field, only for us to be met jarringly with the etched cover of a book, opening it to find an inscription written inside. For Samara. Rachel sits in black and white within Aiden's hospital room, only for more visions to rapidly reach her. Anna Morgan twisting to face the cliff's edge moments before diving from it, the clouds parting behind the solitary tree that sprouted on the hellish hill from the original video. A solitary drop of water dripping in slow motion from a faucet, Anna forcing a dark plastic bag over Samara's face before casting her into the well. A woman's screams echo over an infant resting inside of a crib before giving way to the skeletal face of a buck. And lastly, we watch from a distance as Anna takes her plunge, falling freely to the rushing water below, as up above, the crescent moon dips to full darkness, the sound of the well's lid sealing firmly above Samara in the water below. I loved that choice in sound design of making the moon dipping to darkness becoming the sound of the ring.
Yeah.
Like being formed.
Yeah.
I know what this sequence is meant to be, this is this film's version of the videotape.
Yes.
Right.
And it is the seeds of all the clues that Rachel needs to follow to do what she needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
But all it does is just remind you how much better it was done in the first film.
Right.
It was done better in the first film, but I still liked this, and it scratched that itch a little bit because it is very missed in this film. So, and I thought it looked really cool and creepy.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not the tape, but it'll do for now.
I do feel the same.
Yeah.
I think the thing for me is it's like Samara is not allowed here whenever you're asleep.
Right.
That's the new rule that's been set up. So I don't know how Aiden is able to do this.
Yeah.
How he is giving her this.
Yeah. No.
Make no mistake, I am not defending it logistically.
Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
Only aesthetically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just that it looked very cool. But Rachel's eyes fill with tears as she breathes raggedly, and Aiden slowly lets go of her wrist. She calls out to him, but he remains unresponsive in his deep sleep. But Rachel is then interrupted by Dr. Emma Temple, played by Elizabeth Perkins, who enters the room clutching a folder.
Elizabeth Perkins, big,
Yeah.
88,
Of course.
Sharp Objects,
Yes.
2018, and 63 episodes of Weeds,
Yes.
Uh-huh.
which I know you guys like.
Yes.
Well, for a while. We
Yeah.
did.
It takes a turn.
Didn't love the end.
For those at least 63 episodes?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
she's great in it. I love her.
Yeah, she was my favorite character on that. She actually tweeted at me in reply because I told her that.
So y'all are best friends
Best
as
friends,
well.
just like Lee Winnell.
Yeah. But I was really surprised to see her.
Yeah.
And this is another thing I feel like they could have done so much more with her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially this character and what she represents for what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of lacking. And for an actress of her caliber,
Yeah. No, it's very short.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel the same way about somebody that we see later on, maybe even more so.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like,
absolutely.
it is odd. It is, again, we're using these devices and these characters for what we need them for.
Mhm.
And that's it.
For their convenience.
For
Right.
their convenience.
That's the name of that's the word of the day.
Yes.
But she introduces herself to Rachel, explaining that she's a consulting physician at County Child Services. She tells Rachel that she was hoping to talk to Aiden as soon as he wakes up and asks her if everything's all right in here. Rachel very unconvincingly states that everything is fine, thanking her, but Dr. Temple adds that she was hoping to speak with her as well. Rachel asks what kind of Dr. Temple is exactly, learning that she's a psychiatrist. Temple then consults her file, sharing that she spoke with a Dr. Koji in Seattle, Aiden's doctor. Rachel rises from her chair, suggesting that maybe they could talk about this later, but Temple continues that Dr. Koji mentioned that Rachel dealt with postpartum depression when Aiden was born. Rachel defends that it was only the first month afterward, and that was all. And Temple understands, noting that it's very common. A lot of women have trouble adapting to the stresses of motherhood.
It is. I don't feel like this is relevant here at all.
No.
Even if what it looks like is happening, I don't think her postpartum has anything to do with it. I don't.
Yeah, I was confused with this questioning as well.
It doesn't track.
No.
Because it's not like you're establishing a history like you think you are.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not what it is.
And you're a doctor and you should know that.
Yeah. A rattled Rachel demands to know what any of this has to do with what's going on with Aiden right now. And Temple answers her question with a few of her own. Have you been under any stress lately? Have you found that you were unable to experience love for Aiden? Rachel can't hide her disbelief at this line of questioning, but Temple adds a few more. Have you ever hurt him, however unintentionally? Have you ever left him alone? Abandoned him?
Well, I do that.
Yeah.
I do that quite a
You
bit.
got me there.
That last couple rang true a little bit.
Rachel politely asks to be left alone with her son, which Temple seems to accept, before apologizing to Rachel and pressing the call button for the nurse. She explains that until the two of them talk, she can't allow Rachel to be alone with Aiden.
I know how bad it looked earlier when Max came in.
Mm-hmm.
You were alone with him. I went home. I came back and all that happened. I was just trying to raise his temperature. So that's what I know it looked funny, but that's an excuse. And she really wasn't trying to hurt him.
She wasn't. And I don't even know if Max told anybody
That's
about
where
that.
I'm puzzled.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he did, at least from his perspective, he watched her try to drown him.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you would think that, you have a crush on her, fucking throw that in the garbage.
Yeah.
You watched her try to drown her son.
Yes.
Yeah.
That should be the first thing that we're talking about when we get to this hospital.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, look, we're all on Rachel's side. We know what is actually happening,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to be very honest about the way this looks.
Yeah.
And it looks terrible.
It's not good looking.
He's hypothermic. And let's talk about the fucking hand-shaped bruises on his back.
Right.
Like, everything looks awful. This woman should be involved. She should.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really fucking bad.
Yeah, she's literally doing her job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rachel retorts through gritted teeth, "I'm his mother." But Temple reminds Rachel that there are bruises all over Aiden's body. He was hypothermic and very near death. Rachel immediately denies responsibility, which is not a good look, and she is soon flanked by the doctor, as well as a nurse played by Michelle Ann Johnson, and the head nurse played by Terry Bibb, who crosses her arms, which look very... It's like, are they here to kick her ass?
That's what I thought.
I mean, look, though, honestly, if I'm called into this room and it looks like,
Yes.
what is that? Yeah, I'm ready
Absolutely.
to kick
Well,
your ass.
yeah.
But they assemble antagonistically as Temple assures Rachel that Aiden is going to be all right, but she needs to leave. Now. Please. An incredibly reluctant Rachel does as told. But before she exits, she leans in closely to Aiden, whispering in his ear, "You can't have him, Samara. You're going back to where you came from." She then kisses him on the forehead. We can't hear what she's saying.
Yeah, no.
By the door, this looks fucking terrible.
It does. It looks bad.
It looks really bad. I busted out laughing.
Yeah.
Like, are you threatening him? Are you threatening your son in front of us after what we just said?
Do you ever go by Samara, Rachel?
But we cut to Rachel, now resting on the stone steps just outside of a rental car shop. We then find her driving on the highway, the Seattle skyline sprawling in the distance over the guardrail, and Rachel arriving at the Washington State Department of Adoption. Inside, she speaks with Amina D.A., an adoption counselor played by Reneé Johnson. Seated across from her at her desk, Rachel explains that all she wants to know is what Samara's history was before the Morgans. Amina apologizes, acknowledging that the privacy laws still apply. But Rachel just pleads to know if Samara was even really adopted, if that part of the story is true. Amina reluctantly reveals that it is, but that she'd lose her job if she says any more. Rachel then lies, attempting to curry favor. She says that her son is suffering from a medical condition, and the doctors don't know what to do. But Samara Morgan had the same condition, and if she only knew what caused it, it could save his life. This is the Rachel I remember.
Yes.
I'm like, where were you?
Yeah.
But Amina can only suggest that Rachel speak with the Morgans. But Rachel very curtly responds, "They're dead. They both killed themselves." And that's the end of the scene.
Yeah. I was a little surprised by that too.
What I thought was going to happen was like she just looks off reluctantly because she already knows.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to ruin Amina's day like that.
Yeah, she didn't know.
But we rise from the rippling water to find Rachel driving across a long bridge, the camera then floating over the ocean and the jagged rocks to reach the looming lighthouse of Moisco Island, Rachel returning to the old haunts to once again dig deeper into the story of Samara. She parks her rental car at the gates of the Morgan farmhouse, climbing over them to enter the property. Something very cool is they did return to the same locations that they used for The Ring.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you can tell this continuity. It's like, I'm very glad to be back here.
Yeah. That porch, you can tell
Yes.
right away.
But as she approaches the house, she notices a bright pink balloon dangling from the tall branch of a tree. But she continues to make her way to the front porch, standing at the edge of the steps before ascending them. She takes a deep breath, but before she can knock on the door, Martin Savid, played by Gary Cole, opens the door, clutching a collection of colorful balloons.
I was thrilled.
I was so surprised.
What the hell are you doing here?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Gary Cole. I mean, man.
Yeah.
I don't know where to pick from.
No, he's in everything.
But I'm going to pick from movies that I enjoy.
Right.
Talladega Nights,
Yes.
06. Dodgeball in 04. Office Space in 99. And he was also in 1 Hour Photo in 02.
I don't remember him being in it.
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Dude, I loved 1 Hour Photo. Is it mind-boggling to anybody else that Talladega Nights came out a year after this? Because I'm kind of reeling.
Yeah.
I'm kind of reeling from that information.
Martin announces jovially, "Oh, look out! Early birds!" He introduces himself with a handshake as a representative of Stevens Northwest Realty, inviting Rachel inside, but feeling a bit forgetful as he's certain that he put 12:30 on the ad for the open house. Martin also wonders how Rachel got around the gate. It's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't 10 feet tall. Rachel fumbles a response, but Martin goes, who cares? And invites Rachel inside anyway, chuckling that if she makes him an offer over asking, the property is hers. He shrugs it off when Rachel doesn't answer, but jokes that his first time with the balloons, they took off flying. He ties them to the banister of the staircase before asking Rachel what she thinks of the house. Rachel takes a moment before suggesting that a little bit of color would really turn the place around. Martin takes this and runs with it, touting the property's wonderful history, a working horse ranch. How about that? He adds that there's even this cute little treehouse thing way up in the barn. Rachel slyly inquires, is the house being sold unfurnished, or did the previous owners leave anything behind? Martin offers that there were some things left behind after the owners moved, but it's all being stored down in the basement for the time being.
Moved like planes of existence? Or like, don't you have to tell? Or does it vary by state, probably?
It probably does. Do you have to tell if it's a death or a murder or all the above?
I thought all of the above.
Yeah, I thought it was
would want to
everything.
know all of the above.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, maybe he's just shady.
Well, he is being played by Gary Cole.
Yeah.
Context.
Rachel responds in surprise. There's a basement? And Martin is all about it, leading the way downstairs, no extra charge. But as he crosses down an adjacent hallway to open the door, Rachel stops, transfixed by an oval-shaped vacancy framed by a stain on the wall. I don't know why she's so surprised to see it. We did this in the last film.
Yeah,
Yep.
we did.
But Martin calls out from around the corner, reminding Rachel that he's kind of the welcome wagon for the whole open house thing, so she can just make herself at home while he heads back outside. As he snags the signs by the front door to place in the front yard, Rachel inquires about the previous owners, asking if he knows what happened to them. Martin's voice reaches a little higher as he lies. I believe they bought a condo in Phoenix. He makes a hasty exit as Rachel retorts, really?
That's hilarious.
It's very good.
He literally looked shifty-eyed when he
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
And he had his back to her, so he's like, this is just for me. My thing is, Rachel, you already know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
Like, why are you trying to make his day harder? You got inside.
Yeah, on the cool, just, you need to go ahead. I got it.
Yeah,
Maybe she was trying to make him leave her alone.
maybe.
Okay.
Because why else would
Yeah.
she do this?
But with the house all to herself, Rachel lifts the dingy doors to the cellar, creeping down the rickety set of stairs through cobwebs to reach the bottom. She switches on a light and stops startled when she finds the oval-shaped mirror that once hung in the upstairs hall. She gasps, reaching her hand toward the glass to clear the dust from its surface. But she then ventures further into the clutter, the camera arcing around a collection of hanging deer antlers, Rachel eyeing them as she passes.
They're like, see, it makes sense.
Yeah, get out of here.
The Morgans never.
No, get out of here.
But in the corner of the cellar, Rachel finds an antique carousel, which she gently spins, sparking it to life as a delicate lullaby accompanies the small circling horses. But just beyond the carousel lies an old suitcase, which bears an embroidered rose in its corner, the exact one that she saw in Aiden's shared vision.
Yeah.
Oh, that's convenient.
So yeah, we just put it all down here.
It says for Rachel.
Yeah. She opens it without hesitation, finding a stained garment inside, and stitched onto it in blue thread are the words, "Property of St. Mary Magdalene Women's Shelter." Convenient again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rachel reaches a little further into the suitcase, where she retrieves the book from Aiden's vision as well, with the etched drawing on the cover of a mother and her child, and, for Samara, inscribed in cursive writing on the first page. Rachel flips through it, preoccupied by the scrawled text and photographs that once again coincide with Aiden's vision. But her focus is so firmly placed within this book that Rachel doesn't notice the small light bulbs which line the cellar are beginning to burn out one by one. So Samara's in Australia. She's in America. She's in Australia, America. It's tiresome.
She's checking in. She's just checking in.
But inside the book, beneath the pasted cutout of Sir John Everett Malay's painting Ophelia, someone has written the words, "Vessels of Death." And when Rachel turns the page, she finds a newspaper clipping recounting the story of a young daughter drowned in a bathtub. But the score grows ominous as Rachel peruses the next page, which features the photograph of a young woman with long black hair in a white gown, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Do you even really see her face?
No.
What the hell?
This is her feature film debut.
What?
And from what I heard, so I was reading a lot and everybody's saying, well, in the unrated version, you see a lot more of her. No, you don't.
Oh.
Like, I don't even know that she has one line. She doesn't in this version, and I don't remember one in the unrated.
Yeah.
It's wild that this is her debut because she's been in so much. She's been in like everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is kind of funny that she's in this, and so is Ryan Merriman.
Yeah.
But the woman holds her infant daughter in her arms, the two of them framed by greenery. Rachel realizes, this is Samara's mother. She does say that out loud.
Gary Cole's like, what?
Yeah.
He brought in like 3 families to check out the house.
Starting to think you're not here for the house at all.
But the second she speaks these words out loud, the last of the lights in the cellar dip to darkness, finally getting Rachel's attention. But we cut to Aiden, who still rests in his hospital bed, connected to wires and surrounded by machines. Suddenly, though, just as the score dies away with a thud, his eyes open.
Oop. So I know it is a little lazy for her to be able to find all the information in one spot, just going back to the farm, which she should have done, I guess, a long time ago.
Yeah.
But does this get partial credit as a research scene?
A little.
A lazy research scene?
Even the next scene, maybe, too.
Okay.
So it's continuing.
It adds up.
Yeah.
It adds up.
But with the book in hand, Rachel leaves the Morgan horse farm across the bridge and through the now opened gate to reach her rental car, but not before offering one last glance back at the barn, the top of which once acted as Samara's isolated loft. That was one of the best sequences in the first film, when this was discovered.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
And you just watch them climb up, and that was the tree on the wall.
That's right.
But back at the hospital, Temple arrives to introduce herself to the recently awakened Aiden, clearing the room of the head nurse and the doctor and closing the door behind them after they make their exit. Bad idea in hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But an ashen-faced Aiden sits up in his bed, looking away from the doctor when she pulls up a chair next to his bedside and asks how he's feeling. Instead of answering her, Aiden instead asks, quite uncharacteristically, "Where's my mommy?" Temple assures him that she's on her way, but Aiden insists that he wants his mommy, wondering where she is. Temple tells him that Rachel went home, considering she didn't think that he would wake up so soon. But through dry, cracked lips, Aiden laments that he wants to go home too. Temple promises that he will, but when she reaches a comforting hand to his, she whispers in startled surprise that Aiden is freezing. Aiden just repeats that he wants to go home to mommy, and Temple suggests that they should talk about her first, asking Aiden to tell her a little bit about his mommy. He says that she loves him, which Temple acknowledges, but Aiden adds that she went looking for him and tried to find him, and it means that she loves him. Temple isn't sure what to make of that, but seeing as how he did what was asked of him, Aiden asks if he can go home. As the song from Samara's Carousel twinkles in the score, Temple tells Aiden that he can't because he just isn't well enough yet. Staring at her through wide eyes, Aiden asks one more time, earning yet another polite rejection and apology from Dr. Temple. This prompts the boy to lower his head, the camera centering on a tight shot of his mouth as he mutters, "Then I have to show you something."
I don't want to see it.
Strange sounds emanate within the score, warbling, scraping, reverberating, as Aiden lowers his head once more in deep concentration, clenching his jaw, and soon a look of serenity washes over the face of Dr. Temple. Still eyeing Aiden, she reaches absently for the handle of a nearby drawer, opening it and retrieving a silver syringe. She pulls the plunger back, filling its barrel with air, as Aiden stares downward, unblinking. With no change in her demeanor, Temple aims the syringe at her own throat, stabbing the needle into her jugular vein and injecting herself. Her hand goes limp as a drop of blood drips from the tip of the needle, and Aiden intones, "It won't stop," as the syringe falls from Temple's fingers and she slumps forward, lifeless.
Pretty brutal.
Very.
Yeah.
Line from the first one.
Yes.
Samara
Yeah.
has been known to say this, but I'm like, this bitch is getting stronger every time we see her.
That's very true.
It's not fair. And meanwhile, she's doing this, possessing this doctor. She's fucking with the lights in the cellar.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
she's unstoppable. I think we might have lost.
It is funny to see that Aiden is just Andy now. And we're just hiding the soul or some shit.
Right.
This was weird because it is that, you do that now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
And I mean, I guess this is like you're saying, this is what Samara was doing and could do.
Right.
And we never really saw it. We only heard about it.
Yeah.
And so I guess seeing what she's capable of, there's a lot of horror there that was unmined.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a pretty good sequence. I feel bad because Dr. Temple meant fucking nothing to this story.
Yeah. Again, she was used for this.
Yeah.
But it was funny to me that it's like, are you sure I can't go home?
Yeah. He's
I'm
like,
going to
"All
ask you
right."
one more time.
He did.
Can I go home?
Yeah, he did ask.
Now this is happening.
But as pensive piano plays in the score, Aiden is seen exiting the long sunlit hall of the hospital, having changed into street clothes that I guess he had lying around.
He was brought in his pajamas.
Yeah.
Either his pajamas or his underwear in a blanket.
Yeah.
This is wild, and nobody's stopping this small child.
No.
No.
I'm just
Like, well, he
leaving.
probably knows where he's going.
He's walking with confidence.
But we ascend the iron gate and exterior of the St. Mary Magdalene Women's Shelter, where Rachel sits across from Sister Elizabeth, played by Mary Joy, in a rather expansive office, the sister handing Rachel an opened file, revealing that Samara's mother was named Evelyn and that she came to them 8 months pregnant. Something I thought that was pretty wild, at least at the time of filming, this property, which is kind of incredible,
Yeah.
was an apartment complex in California built in 1912.
Oh,
What
shit.
the fuck? Were the people that lived there well?
I hope, but I mean,
This place is kind of a lot.
it looks
Yeah.
haunted,
It
Yes.
does. Yes, it does.
but it looks incredible.
Oh,
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
But Rachel learns that Evelyn had Samara here, and the staff arranged for Samara's adoption with the Morgans. But when Rachel asks who Samara's father was, Sister Elizabeth says that there was none, admitting that half of the women who come here say that. Rachel wonders what Evelyn thought got her pregnant then, which is a ridiculous thing to say,
Yeah.
because it's obviously a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something else, one thing that is mentioned in the first film is they say that Samara's mother died during childbirth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But they never mention that in this film. Even Rachel being like, what? Like, there isn't a moment there where she remembers that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, it was a lie. But like, we're acting like it was never part of the story at all.
Right, right. Because that would have made more sense to try to clean it up like that. Well, they didn't want any trace, so
Right.
this is what was told.
And another thing about it is them saying that they don't know who the father is. I figured at least maybe at this time in 2005, they're like, well, that's the third film of the trilogy,
Right, right.
Yeah.
is
Okay.
discovering that part.
Right.
But then it just is a mystery that remains unsolved.
Yeah.
But as Sister Elizabeth walks Rachel through the common areas inside, she explains that Evelyn wasn't well and had many problems during the pregnancy, hallucinations, visions, and she believed that something had come for her baby from the waters of the world beyond this one. Great line.
Yeah.
I really like that a lot.
I don't know yet. I feel like for me, honestly, it's giving, I don't know, it's just giving too much of a lore that it's like, no, that would have been something in the first movie.
It's a little bit of an over explanation from this character, but I think the line is great.
The line is good. I just, the story that we're going to get.
I feel like we're borrowing a lot from The Omen,
Yeah.
but, nobody's gagged at anything yet or anything.
Yeah.
Not yet.
We'll see. We'll see. But Rachel seizes on the word water. And as the pair head into a narrow hallway, Sister Elizabeth elaborates that everyone envisions the afterlife differently. And for Evelyn, this is just what she believed. I did find it a little odd that this is clearly like a Catholic women's shelter, but the sister, who is a nun, is like, everybody's got their own ideas, man. Like,
Yeah.
you would think that it's kind of one thing.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's at a church.
But Sister Elizabeth says that Evelyn suffered severe postpartum depression and blamed all of her troubles on her child, so she tried to kill it. Rachel and Sister Elizabeth reach an observation window, looking into what appears to be a nursery, and as we pass through the dividers, we're taken into the past, where a young Evelyn sits on her bed, her dark hair covering her face as she bounces a baby Samara, played by Caitlin Mavramates. Sister Elizabeth commenting that all babies are a challenge, but Samara, she never cried, except for when her mother tried to bathe her. Then she would scream like it was the end of the world. They enter the nursery together, staring out of the second-floor window and down into a very familiar fountain, as Elizabeth reveals, it was the screaming that woke us. In a flashback, we watch as young Evelyn cradles a baby Samara, creeping her way into the courtyard under the light of a crescent moon. She steps into the fountain and lowers Samara into the water, her cries alerting a young Sister Elizabeth, played by Amy Hafner, who races downstairs with other sisters, restraining Evelyn and rescuing Samara from the water. As she's whisked away, young Evelyn sobs with the sisters holding her back, But in the present day, Sister Elizabeth states simply, she was trying to drown the baby.
Okay.
It's like I didn't gather that at all. She says that the baby was taken from her, of course, and Evelyn was institutionalized. She shares that all the pictures Evelyn had been collecting until then, they finally made sense. Rachel asks why Evelyn did it, and Elizabeth says that Evelyn felt that she had to kill her baby to save it. But we watch as Aiden walks alone along a bridge at the water's edge, making his way through the empty streets of Astoria, unattended and unabated. Rachel, however, has finally arrived at Silverdale Psychiatric Institution, approaching the man at the front desk, played by Victor McKay. Sister Elizabeth's just giving it all away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
no.
She's like, in the quickest route.
You want me to go with you?
But Rachel explains that she's here to see a patient, Evelyn, though she admits that she doesn't know her last name. The man seems surprised to hear this, exchanging glances with an uncredited security guard before revealing to Rachel that Evelyn is expecting her. From a high angle just behind a security camera, we follow the man as he guides Rachel down a long, sterile hallway, sharing that every few years, one of you comes to see Evelyn, remarking that she's like a freaking patron saint or something. The red light of the camera blinks as the man asks, "You got a problem with your kid, don't you?"
I understand that he's been through this before. But I feel like the desensitization is wild.
Yeah.
If this woman was like, somebody's coming to see me today and she's like, hi, I'm here to see Evelyn, I'd be like, oh my fucking God. I don't care how many times it happened.
And she's accurately predicting it?
Yes!
Yeah. It is weird, honestly, to think that the movie is implying that this is happening to other people.
Yes.
And they are coming over here and they're just like, whatever, you guys do this. Even if they don't believe what's happening. And again, if this is what you're telling us, that should be a different Ring movie, because some other people, other families, other anything are experiencing this.
Yeah, if this is the new lore or the expounded upon lore, it didn't even need to be Rachel and Aiden. It could have been anybody.
Yeah.
Like finding the source of where this came from and then coming to see Evelyn.
Yeah.
Like their story just could have been over.
And then have him say that and it would have been like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I guess Rachel came at one time or whatever.
Because he's just like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Yeah, and then his question was wild.
Yes. Yeah.
But it makes
Your kid's fucked up, huh?
I knew it. It's every time, every mother. So that's the other thing to think about. Is it like, so Samara with the tape, that's just like a side hustle? Because all she's really trying to do is what she's doing right now?
Is possess these kids.
Yeah.
Because it almost seems the lengths that Rachel went through in the first one and the lengths that she goes through in this one, that she wants Rachel to be her mother.
Yes.
But now it's just like, nah, man, taking all bets. Like any mom. I'll take any mom.
Right.
I'll possess any kid and lead them back to my mom. Like, I don't know.
It also is that if this is happening in different locations, people keep coming. Multiple Samaras? Or like, is each tape, if you burn it, she comes out of it? Or what?
Like what are
how
we
does that happen?
insinuating?
Yeah.
Or she's a very busy little girl.
I guess.
It just doesn't work. Right? It just doesn't. Rachel is too preoccupied to answer, but when a woman's melodic voice echoes into the hall, it's a song that Rachel recognizes. She tells the man that she knows it, and this doesn't seem to surprise him. Yeah, he says. They all do. And the thing about that is the only way that Rachel knows this song is because whenever she was in the well, Samara gave her a vision of the moment of her death.
Yeah.
When she was thrown into the well.
Yeah.
When she was singing this lullaby. Damn. So I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it might have been the same lullaby that was on that carousel.
Right.
But that would mean that every other mother that's been going through this went to the Morgan's farm
and has had
found it.
the same visions.
Yeah.
Climbed out of the well.
Did everything.
Yeah.
So, Rachel, you're not special.
No.
Is the takeaway.
And I understand why they would do this, because making it bigger to a lot of people, it would make it scarier.
Yeah.
But I think, to me, it's way scarier. Like you said, it is just focused on Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the first time this has ever happened.
Right.
And it makes more sense that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he unlocks the door to Evelyn's room, smiling to his patient that she was right as rain. She does have a visitor today. As the woman continues humming, the orderly turns back to Rachel, hoping sincerely that Evelyn can help her with some of her troubles, allowing her 10 minutes before exiting the room and closing the door behind him. Evelyn sits at a desk at the far wall of her room, the rough sound of scissors slicing through paper accompanying her song, as Rachel introduces herself nervously, assuming that Evelyn already knows who she is. Evelyn, Samara's mother, played by Sissy Spacek, explains that some days she sort of has a feeling, and she asks Rachel if this is about her child.
Miss motherfucking Carrie herself.
Yes. I was so surprised.
Yes. Yes.
And this is who I was talking about at the beginning, where it's like, I feel like because she's really good here. She's really creepy.
Yeah.
Just underutilized.
I agree.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she makes such a small appearance that is incredibly memorable.
Yeah.
She makes an impact.
Mm-hmm.
But Rachel creeps closer, admitting that it's about Evelyn's child. The cutting suddenly stops when Rachel breathes her name. Samara. Evelyn looks over her shoulder through the thin veil of her black hair, telling Rachel, "They don't dream, you know. The dead don't dream." The camera arcs around Evelyn, clutching her safety scissors to a strip of newspaper, as Rachel comes even closer, sharing that something has happened to her son and that it has to do with Evelyn's daughter. But Evelyn just continues in cryptic whispers. The dead never sleep. They wait and watch for a way back, but they never sleep. She stands up, concluding that that's why dreams are safe. She awkwardly creeps past Rachel, snagging another piece of newspaper from atop an antique television, as Rachel pleads for her help, noting that there isn't much time, and she needs to know why Evelyn tried to kill her baby. Yeah, I have a good idea. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't learn enough from the Morgans in the first film?
I know.
She's like, I want to hear it from you.
Evelyn repeats the question, though. Why? Because my baby told me to. Just like yours will tell you. And you have to do it. You have to send it back. When Rachel doesn't understand, Evelyn looks over her shoulder at the orderly waiting outside, warning that they stopped her, but that Rachel can't let them stop her, too. She reaches for Rachel's arms, insisting that she listen to the voices, whispering that it was their fault. They did it. She then accuses Rachel in a shout. It was you! You did it! Rachel's ire rises within her as she returns this shout, demanding to know what she did. This gets the orderly's attention, who opens the door and scolds Evelyn lightly for her outburst, but a shaken Rachel is insistent that she loves her son. The orderly then enters the cell, placing a firm hand on either side of Evelyn's shoulders and putting an end to their meeting with a polite apology. But before she leaves, Rachel asks one more time, "What did I do?" Evelyn tells her in a hushed tone, "You let the dead get in." As the guard leads Rachel to the cell door, she asks lowly in seeming defeat what she should do, and Evelyn advises her, "Be a good mother. Listen to your baby." Rachel accepts this, Evelyn repeating her advice as the orderly takes Rachel back to reception, and Evelyn returns to her seat, her song once again echoing through the halls, until we crossfade, the large window of her room taking the shape of Aiden's face, who sits alone on the blue couch in the living room of his home. Max then drives up the street in his truck, parking out front when he realizes that the lights are on inside. He knocks on the front door before letting himself in, and we spy Max and Aiden from the kitchen, the television emitting static in the corner as Max asks Aiden, "Shouldn't you be at the hospital?"
Yeah, so I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but Aiden left. Nobody's making rounds. Nobody's checking on him. Nobody has found this dead doctor sitting at his bedside. He went home. It's not like they're looking for him and they can't find him. Nobody went to his house. Nobody tried to contact Rachel. The cops aren't involved. Like, what the hell is going on? Why?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Samara was like, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody
cool.
went about their business.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And if you recall, Temple cleared the room of the doctor and the head nurse before
Yes.
she went inside.
Yeah.
So they're probably waiting in the hall.
Yeah. Well, no, Aiden would have passed them.
No, not not necessarily.
There could have been two doors.
But Aiden disagrees, explaining that he's here waiting for his mommy.
Red flag. We know you don't call her that. Even Max knows that.
Yeah.
Max reminds him, though, that he can't really leave until the hospital says it's okay, because he was very, very sick. But he asks if Aiden is all right now, and Aiden insists that he is. But noticing the static on the television, Max suggests that with the cable set up at his house, the television needs to be on channel 3. And following his instructions, Aiden switches the channel to the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Very good.
Yeah.
He thanks Max in a way that can only be described as evil.
This kid's creeping me out.
But Max takes off his jacket, grabbing a seat next to Aiden, and after mulling it over for a moment, he tells him sincerely, "Your mom loves you, you know. She loves you a lot." But Aiden just sits there nodding with an eerie smile. Max then asks if Aiden would tell someone if he wasn't sure about that. Like if Rachel had been hurting him somehow or treating him like somebody else. Aiden's demeanor shifts immediately and he snaps at Max. "I'm not somebody else. I'm Aiden. We don't need anybody else."
So I feel like you got really defensive about the whole somebody else thing.
Yeah.
Max relents, backpedaling, but Aiden continues. "We don't need you, that doctor, or anyone else."
That's why I killed that.
Yeah.
Max accepts this, but within his hands, we see that he holds Aiden's camera. He slowly begins to line up a shot, but is stopped immediately by Aiden, who asks what he's doing. Max sheepishly states that he was just going to take a picture of him, but Aiden refuses, even when Max says that it could be a gift for his mom. Aiden's like, "Why? Why?
That's exactly what
Yes. Yeah.
Max wonders what's wrong with taking his picture, and Aiden offers to tell him what's wrong, but only if he promises not to take it. Max promises, setting the camera down on a table, but very clearly setting a timer, complete with a red blinking light, as he crosses over to Aiden and takes a seat next to him on the couch.
That made me laugh because the light could not have been more
Yeah.
visible.
Yeah. No.
Aiden clocks it immediately as Max nonchalantly asks, "So Aiden, what's the story?" The light blinks incessantly on the camera as Aiden stares directly at it. But we're taken outside of the house, where Rachel parks on the curb, perplexed when she sees that all of the lights are on through the windows. She ventures into the house cautiously through the back door, setting down her things on the dining room table and entering the living room, where a rather distressing cartoon plays on the television. I don't know what this was, but it was legitimately unsettling. But upon noticing Max's jacket strewn across the chair next to the couch, she calls out to him upstairs, wondering if he's here. But when she doesn't receive a response, she reaches for the remote control to turn off the TV. Just as she does, the camera glides around the corner just behind Rachel, approaching her with fluid rapidity, and we see that it's Aiden. He wraps his arms around his mother's waist in an excited embrace, announcing, "You're home!" This startles Rachel, who wonders what Aiden is doing here, considering he's supposed to be at the hospital. But Aiden answers, "No, I'm here, Mommy." Rachel noticeably recoils in surprise to what she's just heard, asking Aiden what he just said. And Aiden, who appears boyish and body snatched, partially repeats, "I said I'm here." It's one word missing.
I said, damn it.
Yeah. But when asked, Aiden says that Max isn't here, even when Rachel points to his coat sitting on the chair right next to them. Aiden just tells her that Max went away, before quickly changing the subject, suggesting that they should watch some TV together. He pulls her by her hand over to the couch, where Rachel staggers into a seat next to him, Aiden switching on the TV and turning to his mother with a smile. I wasn't going to say anything until it happened again, but he licks his lips like a lizard. And whenever Max arrived at the house and he was spying Aiden through the window, he did that then too. And so I don't know if that's just something that Samara likes to do or what the story is, but he is gone full lizard.
No, it's a lot. I had an observation as well that, like when you're playing, like when you're playing a newer game and you're talking to a character and they deliver their dialogue and like you're going to respond back, but their eyes are still moving.
And you're just waiting.
He's giving that.
That's fair.
Everything that happens in this house. I'm like, is this the uncanny valley? Like, he's very disturbing to me.
He's clearly lying.
Yes.
Down.
Seriously. But Rachel's voice falters that she has to get something from the car. But before she can get up from the couch, Aiden rests his hand on top of hers. And after a moment of eerie eye contact, he tells her, "I love you, Mommy." Rachel forces a small smile before exiting the house. Outside, she finds Max's truck still running and parked at the curb. Through the fogged-up windows, she spies his silhouette in the driver's seat, his hands outstretched over the steering wheel where he seems to be resting his head. Rachel makes her way around to his window, knocking on it, but when Max doesn't answer her, she opens the door. When she reaches for his arm, he collapses backwards into his seat, his face warped and bloodless, a silent scream frozen forever at his twisted mess of a mouth. Rachel shrieks, because I guess she was expecting something different.
She thought he was taking a nap in there. But I'm like, what did she do to him, though? Because that's tape phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't,
It is.
that didn't happen to the doctor.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because he Damien'd her.
That's what I'm
that's
saying.
true.
I guess it's different. I don't know. So he just drowns Max. And then what?
It is funny to think that Samara did this, then took him outside, set him up in the truck, closed the door. He'll be fine.
We don't got to worry about this.
Yeah. And either started his truck or left it running.
Yeah. He's going to get hot. We'll leave there.
But she covers her face with her hands, crumbling into tears, devastated. And she seems to stop herself from touching Max, opting instead to just quietly close the truck door.
But again, if we would have gotten more time with Max, or if he were a more fleshed out character, this would matter more.
Oh, yeah.
Because now it just kind of feels like we're in a race to conclude this because now she's here with Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's a dead body in front of the house now. And I feel like that's not something that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
That's
go back.
addressed.
Yeah, just completely forget about it.
Just get past it.
But Rachel re-enters the house through the front door, passing Aiden on the couch to head into her bedroom. She closes the door behind her, sinking against it to the floor and breaking down into sobs. But the camera rises above her, and we suddenly find Rachel and Aiden together in bed, surrounded by soft light, the boy getting his mother's attention by calling her first name. He asks her if she's sleeping, because he is. He says that Samara makes him sleep all the time now. Oh, what a punishment. It's like...
Poor Aiden.
Rachel reaches a loving hand to Aiden's cheek, and he implores her to keep sleeping so that Samara can't hear them. He tells Rachel that she has to show Samara that she can't stay, but Rachel doesn't know how. Aiden directs her to take him where Samara is afraid, and we see her drowning Samara in Max's overflowing bathtub before cutting back to Aiden, who tells her, "Take me to where she's afraid of and kill me." Rachel refuses, envisioning drowning her son, but Aiden insists that Samara won't stay if she knows that Rachel will kill him, telling her that it's the only way. But when Rachel is emphatic that she can't, a defeated Aiden replies, "Then she stays." But the sound of movement interrupts the pair, Aiden gasping, "She's heard us!" before running out of Rachel's bedroom and slamming the door behind him. Rachel wakes up in her bed in darkness, catching her breath after such a vivid vision.
Rachel went to sleep under the covers, with Aiden / Samara running around and fucking Max dead and on the street.
Yeah.
That's what happened. She saw that and went and got under her blankets.
Yeah. And what's funny is you can see Max clearly now through the window.
No, yeah.
All tape faced. Like if any of her neighbors come home.
Yeah, it's done.
But Rachel returns to the living room to find Aiden still sitting on the couch watching TV. He assumed that Rachel was sleeping, which she was, but Rachel lies that she had a bad dream. Aiden understands. She must have had a nightmare, but it's okay. We all have them. That's what Rachel told Aiden.
Yep, so she was already, and that was after his first nightmare when he got dragged into the TV.
Yeah.
So she was already skulking around.
But he asks if Rachel will stay with him now, to stay for always. Rachel agrees that she will, and Aiden beams. Alrighty, let's watch some TV together. There's no fucking way that Samara has ever said the word alrighty. She looks like a little Victorian child.
Yeah.
That is not in her
No.
vocabulary.
My thing
Not
is
at
like
all.
she's really into this cup and ball now. She cannot stop watching TV.
She's like, have you fucking seen this? It's incredible.
Well, she's been in a well for a long time.
That's true. But when Rachel insists that it's a little late for TV, suggesting that he should go to sleep, Aiden stares at her stone-faced, declaring, "I never sleep."
Okay.
Yeah, so she's not even trying to hide it now.
Yeah, that was.
Rachel considers this for a moment before offering, "Then let mommy make you something." We cut to Rachel in the kitchen, standing at the island as she prepares 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, creamy peanut butter and strawberry jelly, so she knows what's up.
Halfway.
But just as she smears the jelly across a slice of wheat bread, we notice another ingredient resting on the counter, a bottle of prescription sleeping pills. Just a couple things. One, this is labeled as prescribed to a Tony Ventura.
Holy shit.
That's number one. And number two, no, I don't know where Rachel got these.
No.
Who the hell is
Yeah, who was that?
I have no idea.
All right. I guess when she was at the psych ward. I don't know. I don't know.
She snatched it.
Good for her. She's a
Yeah.
kleptomaniac. We're adding shit all the time.
But, I mean, I guess there's nothing like a peanut butter and temazepam sandwich. I mean, it
Hey, don't knock
takes
it
the
till you
edge
try
off.
it.
Yeah.
But glancing over her shoulder at Aiden through the bar window and seeing that he is still preoccupied by the television, Rachel snags a capsule from the bottle, opening it up and raining the white powder onto Aiden's sandwich with great reluctance. She brings the sandwiches into the living room along with a glass of milk. For her, not for Aiden, which I thought was really funny.
She's had enough liquid.
Yeah.
I was like, please tell me you mixed in that powder with the jelly.
No.
Oh,
And
yeah.
please tell me you're not going to mix the sandwiches up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or like Princess Bride the situation.
Yeah.
I was just really nervous about these sandwiches.
I did think it was almost going to be like Misery, like he drops the plate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or he's like, Mommy, your sandwich looks better.
Yeah.
You know? But as she sits down next to her son and takes a bite of her sandwich, Aiden immediately realizes that something is wrong with Rachel, that she looks sad. Rachel insists that she's only tired, and before digging into his sandwich, he tells Rachel that she now has him to protect her.
Now? I've
Yeah.
always had you,
been
Aiden.
my son. He chews his small bite about 100 times before taking another, licking his lips incessantly. And we abruptly cut to Rachel switching off the television and covering a sleeping Aiden in a blanket on the couch.
I was like, oh, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It did.
Like human medicine
Yeah.
takes her out. That's interesting.
As Rachel eyes the nearby bathroom door, Aiden's voice echoes in her mind. Take her to where she's afraid of. You have to show her, Rachel. Show her she can't stay. Rachel pushes the door open, the bathtub before her at the far wall of the bathroom, as Evelyn's advice returns to her. Listen to the voices. You have to listen to the voices. Be a good mother. Listen to your baby. Rachel then twists the handle to turn on the faucet. But Aiden stirs on the couch, his eyes moving rapidly beneath their lids as Rachel returns to the living room. A flickering light seems to catch her eye at the window, and when she peers out of it, she discovers the flaming skeletal tree from Samara's video, and from the etching in the attic, too. It burns brightly on her neighbor's front lawn, but Rachel just closes the blinds, the tree seeming to glitch out of existence completely. She's like, we don't have time for that right now.
Too far in the movie. Too far.
Yeah. Should have done that earlier. But we spy Rachel carrying Aiden into the bathroom through the rippling water of the now-filled tub. And as she lowers him into it, she offers a trembling apology, telling him that she's so sorry, but Samara can't stay. Before Aiden is fully submerged, he awakens in her arms, fear filling his eyes as he pleads to know. What are you doing, Rachel? He promises Rachel that it's him, not her. But Rachel just shushes him as he appeals to her. I love you, Mommy. I love you.
That's dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel caresses his face, promising that she knows, and telling Aiden that she loves him too. But as she forces him underwater, she adds, but you're not my son. Aiden struggles beneath the surface of the bathwater, his mouth twisting open as a mass of black hair spills out from within him like ink. Static suddenly surrounds Rachel, the world around her growing hazy as Samara's long black hair overtakes the entirety of the tub, Rachel falling backwards as the spirit of the girl rises, floating above the porcelain as the water drips from her diaphanous frame. Peering through the veil of her hair, she whispers, Mommy, before slowly disintegrating into a downpour of water, disappearing down the drain and leaving only Aiden's body resting lifeless at the bottom of the empty tub. Rachel reaches for him desperately, dragging him out of the tub and holding him in her arms, begging him to breathe, promising that she knows it's him. All seems lost until Aiden finally opens his eyes, breathing the name of his mother. Rachel. Rachel rejoices, holding him close to her and telling him that everything is all right. He was only sleeping. But the pair are jolted out of their sweet reunion when the television suddenly switches on in the living room. It's like you thought it was going to be that easy.
It's literally.
They rush to face it, finding the screen flickering, centered on Samara's well in the pale blue wilderness, water leaking from the set as she rises from within it, and Rachel can barely whisper, No. Aiden trembles that Samara wants him again, but Rachel denies this, inching her way closer to the screen as Samara reaches her feet, taking her signature stuttering steps forward. Aiden asks Rachel what she's doing, but Rachel understands. All Samara wants is a mother, and she'll keep coming until she finds one. She kneels in front of the screen as Samara reaches her arms forward, Aiden pleading with Rachel to get away from her. But Rachel is adamant and unflinching as she announces, "You can't have my son, so take me." Rachel closes her eyes as Samara's hands push out of the now membranous glass, the two of them clasping each other as Aiden screams for his mother. But Rachel is dragged into the abyss of the well, tumbling for what feels like forever with the crescent moon above her, until she crashes into the deep and dark water below. She surfaces, catching her breath as the lid hangs half closed high above. She antagonizes Samara, calling out that she's here, just like she wanted, and she threatens Samara to leave Aiden alone. An electrical fuzz hums loudly, startling Rachel, but she gazes upward, realizing that the well is always open. Samara's only way out is always open. We've been very honest about our opinions here today.
Yeah.
This screenplay, dude, like, what? Why would you say something so just plain and obvious?
Yeah.
She sees it, we see it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to tell us everything. But the score sings suspensefully as Rachel begins her climb against the stone wall of the well. But beneath her, a bubble of air rises to the surface of the water, carrying Samara's shriek. "Mommy!" Rachel continues to climb with great effort as Samara's calls continue, the water now rippling to a boil until it suddenly ceases. Samara reaches her gray hand upward until she rises too. Her tormented trek of jittery movements trace Rachel's, Samara's body contorting as she climbs. But Rachel races to the top, finally reaching her hands to the cold stone of the well's mouth. But before she can climb out, Samara seizes her ankle. In the struggle, Rachel's foot dislodges a loose stone, sending a cascade of water into Samara and sending her tumbling downward to a splash at the bottom of the cavernous well. But Samara then resurfaces once more, climbing quickly to reach Rachel again, only for Rachel to finally ascend to her exit from the well. She rushes for the heavy lid, reaching for it as Samara's sorrowful cries echo from within the well's walls. "Mommy!" But before Samara can reach the light, Rachel seethes. "I'm not your fucking mommy," as she slides the lid closed.
I like the line. It was the one thing I remembered from the film. But like, I know Samara's bad. Okay?
Yeah.
I know she did a lot of bad things.
Right.
But it's like her backstory and everything she's been through. It's kind of mean that that's the last thing she ever gets to hear, right?
Yeah.
Am I
pretty
the only one that feels a little bad for Samara?
And a curse at her, too.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
fuck
mean.
you. It's like, damn, Rachel.
Like, God
I mean,
damn.
it does, and then being followed by her still calling her mommy. Oh,
It's
Uh-huh.
sad.
Still, yeah.
Like, it's sad that that's her motivation. And again, I'm not defending her. She did some really bad stuff. And she did some really bad stuff to Rachel's kids. So, like, I
Yes.
get the vitriol, but I'm like, what a sad ending for this character, man.
There was just this is the thing that I was really talking about at the very beginning.
Yeah.
When I said that it felt weightless.
Right.
When she slides the lid closed, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no scream, there's no splash, there's no like resistance.
I will say weirdly, this is a weird complaint, but like the lid didn't even sound satisfying.
No.
When it closed.
No.
That-
Did
and
anybody
that's
else
the thing.
notice that?
That's why I was like, this was like really.
It's just like weirdly flat. I don't know.
It's like closing a bottle of water. Like there's nothing. It did
Like you
not.
expect a thud or an echo
Yeah.
or like, you know, something. I don't know.
This is finality, is what it should
Yeah.
feel like. You know.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about this though because the way that they filmed it was actually really cool.
Okay.
They saved this for the final days of shooting, and they recreated the set from the first film on a soundstage in Los Angeles. They deployed freshly laid sod with over 220 alder trees planted in it.
Damn.
And they have a green screen behind it all because we're obviously leading somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so they needed to be able to portray that.
Mm-hmm.
but the well itself opened into a pit beneath the stage. And this is so Naomi Watts and Kelly Stables could climb in and out of it. But the chase itself called for multiple sets of the well to be built.
Yeah.
And they're like these giant tubes that are in the middle of this studio. And the outside is made of wood and everything, but the inside is that stone wall.
Yeah.
And so they're shooting through this very claustrophobic set. One is wet and one is dry, depending on what they need. But this is on a soundstage at Universal Studios. And Naomi Watts is attached to wires doing all of her own stunts.
Wow.
Okay.
Climbing this.
Yeah.
But they replaced Samara for this sequence with a contortionist named Bonnie Morgan.
Okay.
Which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, this is getting a little weird.
Yeah.
You already have Kelly Stables, which is horse related. So it's pretty wild. But to see them do this and for it all to be done so seamlessly,
Right.
where her in the well at the bottom with the water is another set, the climbing is another set, the exterior is another set, and it never feels strange.
No,
Or
it's very
switching.
cohesive. Yeah.
It's just very well done, and I really did want to applaud them for that.
No, yeah.
That's
that
very impressive.
all looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But Rachel gasps for air, having just scaled the height of an entire well, a gust of wind finding her, with Aiden's voice whispering her name upon it. She staggers through the fog-filled forest, following her son's voice until she exits into a clearing, stumbling upon the cliff where Anna Morgan jumped to her death. The score rises solemnly as Rachel recognizes it, realizing what she has to do as she inches her way to the edge. A tear streaming down her cheek and the water crashing down below, Aiden asks if she can hear him because he's right here. Rachel says that she can, and the score reaches a crescendo as she raises her arms from her sides, letting go and taking the same leap that Anna did, descending into the darkness as she reaches the water below. And that entire sequence is beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, this whole thing, like I said, the well, I was like, I really like that.
Yeah.
It looks good.
And you remember how we opened the film.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But Rachel awakens on the floor of her living room, Aiden calling her name, relieved that she's still here. Rachel tells him weakly, "Of course I'm here. I followed your voice." But she promises her son that it's over and that Samara isn't coming back. Aiden embraces Rachel, whispering with a smile, "I love you, Mommy." But Rachel sits in front of her son and asks him to promise her something. Just call her Rachel, at least for a little while. As they hug each other on the floor of the living room, Rachel glances over to the black mirror of the television, and we rise out of an adjacent window and onto the street, a crescent moon hanging high in the blue evening sky as lightning flickers through the clouds. But our view soon gives way to static, with one last sighting of the ring at the top of the worrisome well before we fade to black and the credits roll. So, what did you guys think of The Ring 2?
So I think we've all three kind of said, as we've discussed this film, the story is really what hurts a lot of it. There is a lot of cool things, our visuals and stuff that's done, and even some callbacks that are like, okay, that is cool.
Yeah.
Some ideas that are cool. I just don't understand the switching of what Samara can do. Now she's possessing people and she's whatever. And and you're right, I do remember from the beginning or the first movie about her mom saying that she was, making her see stuff or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that is cool. The story and what was going on and how sometimes they're clueless, sometimes they did know a little bit, and then sometimes they chose not to know and just act like this was all brand new. it hurt a lot of the universe we're in, or this world that we've built so well with the first movie coming into it, and then them kind of even. I feel like if they just would have done the changes in a different way, maybe a little more cohesive way, then it would have been like, oh, okay, this is decent, this is fine.
Right.
You have all the stuff there, the lore. It was the story for me is really what hurt. A lot of it, like a lot of it.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I'll be very brief before we are accused of being too negative. I think that we were very clear throughout what worked and what didn't work. And I think it makes it a little bit more difficult to swallow when the first story is so good.
Yes.
When the first movie is so good, you know, it's just a shame. It, like I said at the beginning, almost feels like we didn't really need this. That being said, there are some really cool sequences. I really like the flashbacks. I love that, you know, kind of vision she got. That was our stand-in for the videotape. I like the contorted faces of Samara's victims. I think they're really cool. I liked the scene with Elizabeth Perkins with the syringe. I thought it was very eerie, very cool. I think that David Dorfman does a really good job for what he's asked for. He's a little kid having to play this odd little kid, and then this odd little kid being possessed by a ghost girl. Like, he does really good. And Naomi Watts, of course. And there are some surprise cameos in here.
Yeah.
I'm calling them cameos because they last for one scene, but those are a real treat. The sequence in Max's bathroom was really cool.
Yeah.
I just think that you had some good stuff here, but it's like all of the effort went into that instead of staying true to this established lore and characters and story. And it's like, yeah, we have a happy ending, quote unquote. What was the glitching at the end? A sequel tease?
I guess.
What? And now it's like, okay, yeah, we survived and she's laid to rest, quote unquote. You did cuss her out and kick her down. So I can't imagine she's happy down there. But, you know, say that this is the end.
She's just lifting weights, just getting madder and madder.
It's Cape Fear.
Yeah.
It's just like, even if that's the case, even if it's over and Samara is laid to rest forever, there's lots of dead people surrounding the events that you've been through in the last few days. There is a potentially open CPS case. There's a dead doctor / social worker, whatever the hell she was, in the room.
There's also a corpse parked outside.
There's a corpse of your coworker and friend parked in front of your house. Aiden just strolled up out of the hospital. He was admitted with hypothermia and potential abuse. Like, there's a lot that you guys got to work through after these credits roll. And so it feels like a really bittersweet ending when we're only supposed to be feeling like, oh, thank God that's over. You know?
And Tony Ventura can't sleep tonight.
And Tony Ventura is unwell. But yeah, dude, I think that there are some really cool sequences, some really cool effects, some really bad effects too, but a lot of cool moments, just it sometimes overshadowed by a very poor narrative and story, and that sucks.
Yeah, I could not agree more with both of you. It's very disappointing. And you want it to be much more because the one that came before was so legitimately good.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching it, and after you learn a little bit more about it and you hear what Hideo Nakata went through, you're wondering what was his vision, number one, that was compromised. And you're wondering what was the screenplay that attracted him so much to this project, because I don't think this was it.
Yeah.
I would guess no.
And if you're getting new pages every single day, there's no way that it can be. I just don't understand. We always talk about studio meddling and producers getting in the way of their directors that they have selected. I don't understand why you bring somebody onto a project for their expertise and creativity only to stifle them.
Steamroll them,
It does not make sense. And so this is what you get. That's what you get when you let your heart win, I think is but this is what happens.
Yeah.
Larry.
Yes, that's right.
I just don't understand, and it's so puzzling because you, again, just as you both said, you have all the elements of what you need to make a really good sequel.
Yep.
And it's not a surprise to have a sequel that is derivative or of a diminished quality from what came before.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's like expected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to be this diminished,
Yeah. It's a shame.
it's egregious.
Yeah, it is.
But we can slide right into ratings.
Yeah.
I think that we have said a lot and kind of explained what did and didn't work. There are a lot of things that are so well done.
Yeah.
And I think that is what is more bothersome, like Nay said, to where it's like, oh, so you do have this capability to still pull off these really cool things.
Yeah.
What's going on around it? That bathroom sequence is amazing.
Yeah.
The situation with the well at the end, even the emotional weight of Rachel leaping off of the cliff, following her son's voice just as she said she would.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. What the hell happened for the previous hour 40?
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, what is going on? How do you see this? And you're like, yeah, this is the best version of what we got. Unless it was. And I don't understand how that's possible.
Yeah.
But the performances were good. I think Naomi Watts is always fantastic.
Yeah.
David Dorfman was legitimately unsettling.
Yeah.
He was.
He did a very good job. And the differentiation from when he is possessed versus when he's not.
Because you're like, oh, that's not him.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah.
But it all just comes down to that narrative. Like, even with all these positives that it has, it's just so outweighed by what it is.
Yeah.
The story doesn't work. You're trying to do too much. You're not marrying these things in a way that even makes sense. The way that they handle Max as a character,
Yeah.
how are you missing all these opportunities to ingratiate him more into the story?
Yeah. Because they're right there.
They
Yeah.
are. So it's just puzzling. And, I understand that they wanted to do something different, and in some ways that is admirable.
Yeah.
But maybe drifting so far away from the videotape was kind of its downfall,
Right.
because that is something that it seemed like, at least at the beginning of the film, they wanted to explore more.
Right. Well, that's how we got.
Yeah. And then she's finding the tape at a fucking farmer's market, and then she's like, I'll just leave that for somebody to watch.
She's like,
and buy.
I don't know what it is, really. It's not been confirmed.
But, and I think the music was good. I think the cinematography was good. It looks good, except for the scenes that don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are a lot of positives, but it just does not work as a film. And I'm really upset about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, we've said all that we can really say.
Mm-hmm.
For me, out of 10 woeful water wells, firstly, we all rated The Ring, the first, a 7.5.
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think I would probably give it like an 8.5 today.
Agreed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But out of 10 woeful water wells, I am going to give The Ring 2. And I know it sounds low, but I really didn't like it.
Well, when you finished your script, you texted us with the word count, and you were like, I did not like this
Yeah.
film.
I didn't at all. I am going to give The Ring 2 4 woeful water wells out of 10. I was going to give it a 4.5, but the more we talked about it, I feel like even less I liked it.
Yeah.
And that does not happen very often in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually you see
Usually
these-
the opposite. Yeah.
But it just did not work out that way. And it's a damn shame.
Yeah.
But I will now open the floor to you.
No, I agree with you, and I think that's what does make this so hard, honestly, for me, because I know the movie's not great, but the performances were good. Everybody did what they were supposed to. It is just that story, the narrative that really tears everything that's great about this movie apart.
Yeah.
Because, like you're saying, I'll second everything you said about what's good about the movie. But it is that when we have that middle area, we start good, we end good, but the whole middle, the whole lead up is confusing, or they're confused, or we just want to change something to make something else happen, or to make something else feel more impactful, but it doesn't, because you don't give us enough for that to be impactful or for us to care. It does hurt a lot of what's going on. With even performance is great. we don't, you know what I mean? It still doesn't do anything because you're confused. You're saying the lines right, but it's still confusing. Like, it still doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I did have a lot of fun talking about this movie.
Yes.
With you. Both of you guys. Like, this was so fun. I didn't expect for us to come and this movie be this fun.
Right.
So I will take in a little bit of that into account. And like I did, I would watch this again. I'm just not in a hurry to watch it. Maybe a double feature, and then once we get to the second one, it's like, oh, what is that? Oh, man, oh, but we're still having fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're still watching it.
It's like you can have your phones out when this one's on.
Yeah.
But not the first one.
No. But I do feel the same way. I think as we talked about it, the more we kind of thought about it, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to give it what I originally scored it. So I think I'm gonna go with what I was thinking, and I'm gonna take a 0.5 off. And for me, on a scale from 1 to 10 woeful water wells, I'm going to give The Ring 2 a 5.5. I did want to give it a 6 because, again, the performances are fine. Everything looks cool. There was some enjoyment I did get, but it is that whole middle part that just kind of tears you can have your favorite bread, but if you put shit in the middle of it, it's still not.
It's not what you want.
No.
Yeah, I am in the exact same boat. I came torn between two numbers, and I am going to go with the lower one just because I knew the story was a mess when we sat down.
Mm-hmm.
But I think us pulling at threads and kind of getting into it and bouncing, observations off of each other made me realize just how much of a mess. Yeah. That being said, like everything we said about the makeup, the effects, the fucking scene in the bathroom, there's so many good moments.
Mm-hmm.
They just are not strung together well, if that makes sense. Like you, I would watch this again, but it's not like everybody shut up. The Ring 2 is on.
No.
TWO, by the way.
The Ring TWO is on. Terrible title, by the way.
Absolutely.
It can be on. You know what I mean? Like you said, we watch The Ring, maybe throw The Ring 2 on while we're milling around or cleaning up or whatever. But yeah, it's just I knew that it wasn't going to be great because I knew that there had to be a reason I never returned to it.
Right.
After we watched The Ring so much, there had to be a reaon that I watched The Ring TWO one time and never again. There had to be a reason for that. And the reason is clear. And now I know the reason. So with that being said, on a scale from 1 to 10, woeful water wells.
You got it.
I'm going to join you and give The Ring 2 5.5 woeful water wells. I'm giving a little zhuzh because the performances are really good. It was a treat to see Sissy Spacek and Elizabeth Perkins. Honestly, for me, even Gary Cole. I was really excited to see him. But yeah, it's the story for me. It's just not there.
It absolutely is not. But one thing that I didn't even remember until I was looking at the Wikipedia for this film to get the cast list and everything.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Okay.
Called Rings.
I've never seen that.
Me either.
And that's a gap, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Like
it's
over
like
a decade.
2017.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
So
Maybe it's amazing.
Yeah.
because we've all heard of it and seen it, so it must be.
Yeah.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate The Ring 2, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Instagram at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like our Stairhole Productions page on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Instagram and Blue Sky at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at Juggalo Daddy 84. Thanks again to Original Cinematic for sponsoring this week's episode. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, where you'll gain access to over 200 hours of bonus content, our monthly schedule, our Discord server, and the opportunity to help us decide which films to cover. And if you're looking for Pod Mortem and Stairhole Productions merch, follow the link in our episode notes. Stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, If it feels as though you're drowning in your problems, know that facing them head on is the only way to stay afloat. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special thank you to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Woo! Yeah!
Great work. A special thank you to
Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent Morton, Lala Thomas, Travis Anissa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Jennifer Perez, Allison O'Neill, Carissa, TJ and Angie Bronson, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Kimberly Kleindienst, Sydney Smith, Bobby Holmes, Donna Eason, JD Rizak, Molly Gerhart, Armand Spasto, Aaron Aguirre, Eggy, William Barry, Charity Oxner, Amanda Six, Mandy Rainwater, Eden, Jordan Roberts, Dylan, Liz Heath, Spencer Montalvo, Pancake the Panda, John Ramos, Michael Newting, Alexis Roberts, Dan Laveau, Itzy M, Gary Horton, Kate Lamp, Carlos and Sydney, Jessica Hunter, Helena Rudder, Alan Johnston, Mariah, Livy Fun, Scott Troutman Wise, Towton Watson, Mozzie Bear, Dave Burke, Emma Hagel Kissinger, Valerie G, Emiliana, CB, Taylor Santana, Will Lewison, Angelique, Smelly Poo Poo Head, Beth Bauer, Cookie, Esperanza J, Jason Kyle OKC, Joshua Rumley, Danielle Peralta, Brandon, Sawyer Reese Farr, Sahara, Girl That's Scary, Cassandra, Andrea Simmons, Ashley Higuera, William and Xena Rush, Ryan Brom, Megan Ochoa, Laura Lassiter, Eileen O, Marissa E, Henry F, Megan M, Strangely Sarah, Christy Beck, Nancy and Andy, Amanda Lopez, Andy Terrell, Jason Hanovan, Erica Morin,
Tris Wynn, K.87, Mariah Jensen, Carrie A, Lonnie Lono, Pow, Kayla E, Maggie H, Murder Stina, Kristen Marcy, Ori81 Boricua, Look Like That One Girl, Bog Boy, Felnez63, Alita Pui, Probably My Jugs, Kate Thackeray, Wade Pack, A Lizard, Bay J, Jay Rich, Topher Williams, Elena Metler, Valerie K, Christy Lee Kruger, Professor of Humanities Laura McCarricker, Naomi, Josh Smith, Autumn Green, Abby Kopp, Crystal 831, Skank Sinatra, Morgan Alexander, Tony Osteen, Julie Fredborg, Rihanna S, Daniel Taylor, Anna Kate, Heather Ortiz, Kim H, August, Vengeance Spirit, Jenny May, Glittery Fab, Malik Caselli Armstrong, Scarly D, Toya Shea, Katie, Martin Shaw, Star, Tyler J, Cam Davies, Patrick Hoagland, Raven, D, Wesley Tart, Kristen Jackson, Jacob Nordberg, Spencer, Samantha, Damian Grant, Half Price Horror, Clemmy, Nisi Nay, Erica, Jason X Rules, Karen Burrows, Aaron Norman, Stephen Rogers, Victoria Smith, Patricia A. Graham, Erasmo Pena, Danielle Wright, Tabitha Thomas, Richard Murray, Irene, Sally Slater 52, Jordan McCarthy, Christy Michelle Wilson, Rosalind Harnias, Emily Rance, Amy, Lisa and Kathy, Mike H,
Christian Sadler, Hannah, Sarah Jack, Casey L, Evelyn Knight, Paula Garcia, Nikki M, Ghastly Grandad, Megan and Alexandra Saldivar, Lisa Sykes, Sonny Jonas, Kelsey Niemeyer Cook, The Face Flowers, JG, Morgan Novello, Ashley, Alex M, Brandon C, Gordon Sutherland, Georgia Renland, Ashley Poe, Najee P, Seth Schaff, Diana Joe, Connor Gormley, Carrie Parker, Katie Face, Jane Pillsbury, Caitlin Asher, Mia Franz, Pooh Bear, Spicy Caldera, This is the Zodiac Speaking, Jason the Ghost, Moldy Tic Tac, Brian Ward, Tanner Rutgers, Gremlin Keeper 22, Sam Spade 666, Veronica, Kristen Rhodes, Daniel Laurent, Carmito, TVR, A Very Sweepy Baby, Randy Tucker, Nicholas Rage, A Lazy Boy, Nicola Williams, Sadison Miles, Jasmine, Stu Corbett, Daniel Smith, Brick O, Pullout Lebowski, Jaden Nicole, Jody Grody, Lost Fan 08, George L. Robertson, Mercedes X Bleeple, Joel Miller Apologist, Jaylene Perry, Cool Trainer Elijah, Mrs. Bloomingdale, Sierra Duncan, Claire Cantwell, Renee Hart, Meg Like Sleep, Final Boy, Alani, Nosferah Dude, Elizabeth Thompson, Joey, Michelle Nicole, The Lipstick Demon, Less Than Zombie, Franklin Badge, Sean Reeves, The Kryptonian Orphan, and Aria Carter. Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
We love and appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope that you will hear from us again in 7 days.
They will.
They will.
Yeah.
That's our schedule. Until next time,